kid in 1976 watching that first Rocky.
Are you queuing to the camera? Are you doing the Rocky?
I'm just talking. I'm talking to the.
They're ridiculous.
Oh, it is.
It is. It's phenomenal. It's like he's hanging off a plane. And what's next? He's gonna hang off a space shuttle? It's so ridiculous.
You are so freaking predictable. Look at you picking Leonardo DiCaprio for a comic book movie. It's gonna be.
I know. I use facts and arguments. That's so predictable.
Yeah.
Use
Okay.
facts.
From Screen Junkie Studios in the heart of Los Angeles, this is Screen Junkies Movie Fights. Now your host, Andy Signore.
Greetings, Screen Junkies, for the epic return of Mance versus Roca. I'm so happy to be here. I'm your host and judge, Andy Signore, and you guys, I can't believe this is finally happening. These two got so intense. They took a break for a while. Then they did some schmoedowns, other things, but they are finally back here for the battle of all battles to end this epic trilogy that started here on Movie Fights. I'm so happy to do it, and to do this right, we're doing this so big. We have an audience here. Let's cut to our fan crowd. Yeah! What's up, guys? Woo! Guys, are you guys excited? We get to see Mance Roca. Let's see, who's voting for Mance? Oh, man. Who's voting for Roca? Okay, good. Oh, wow, Dan. Dan, now there's some Mance, for those that don't know, in the schmoedown, Roca took the belt from you.
He did. He didn't take it. He won it.
He won it, fair,
He
sir.
won it fair and square.
So, you're rooting for Mance today?
Well, technically I have to be impartial, and I will conduct my duties impartially, but personally, yes.
Well, I'm excited to have it. We have some amazing fights today, including Best Ridley Scott Movie, What's Spielberg's Most Overrated Movie, and of course, the ultimate showdown, Star Wars versus Star Trek. There are so many rounds. We're doing 6 today. That's right. Because this is going to be one-on-one. These guys talk so much. I didn't want a third wheel in here. I didn't want a third wheel messing this up. I want to hear their both arguments, and I want to see who's really going to win this. So let's bring them out. First up, he is movie critic for Access Hollywood and lover of La La Land. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Mance! Hello, Scott Movie Mance. Welcome.
Just a minute. Hang on.
Oh, it's a strip show. Oh! Superman's is here.
Here we go. Ready. I'm ready.
I'm so happy. Thank you for doing this, Scott. You ready for this?
I've been waiting for this. You know that movie There Will Be Blood? This is the sequel. I'm gonna drink his milkshake. I'm gonna drink it up. It's gonna get ugly.
All right, well, you're gonna have to get through this milkshake for sure. Second up, you've seen him on the Cinephiles and Super Animation Game Time. It's the current Schmoedown Trivia Champion. It's the Outlaw John Roca!
Jam is here.
He's sitting right next to me.
Oh, the fans are giving you crap over there.
You're on my world now. You're in my world now, Roca.
It's belts.
That's right.
The belt.
You're in my world.
Come on now.
Give me the belt.
Come on.
Give it to me.
Oh, look at that
like
belt.
I did.
Can I see this belt?
All right.
Let's see how they. So they really just took a
Schmoedown.
They just took a WWF belt and put a little plaque on it. Dan, you see how lazy that was?
Don't be bashing
I
my
like
belt.
that. I like
you
that.
see how ours is personally engraved with our faces in it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I loved.
You need your
I love
faces
to give Christian crap. It's really heavy. This is legit.
Well,
Are those real rubies?
That's why you need a man to carry it. There we go.
John, I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
I'm
Thank you for
John.
doing this.
We're back.
Thank you.
Guys.
We are back.
Yeah.
Now,
And I mean, John.
Let's make it happen.
I mean, it's gonna get ugly.
Scotty, let
is there a
Andy-
mop? Did you guys bring a mop?
Oh, there's
Let
some
Andy host his
Because
show.
we're gonna need some
Scott.
mop to clean up the blood. This is not movie friends. It's not movie buddies.
You said this already.
It's movie fights. Yes,
Movie
now I
fights.
said it
So-
on
it's so
camera
intense
for
in
the
this one.
record.
Yeah, let them
Look
fight.
at that belt.
All right. Now, guys,
Yes.
first off, before it gets bloody, I just want to thank you both because you were both wonderful people.
Thank you,
We
Andy.
know this. I know it's going to get hot and heavy, so I'm
Yes.
doing this now. I just want a nice, clean fight.
Good luck.
Clean fight. But I want to make it clear, because I know you and I have had some crap, Roca. Like, I love you both, respect you both
yeah.
tremendously.
Absolutely.
This is going to be a very tough one for me to judge. I'm going to do my best. We do have some. I know they're being unfair towards Mance, so I'll take them by a grain of salt. But I'm going to treat this very seriously, and I hope you guys will too. I know you will. But first, before we begin, thank thank you both for bringing us back to where it all started and doing this again.
It started here.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It started here. And I'm so glad you got to continue it elsewhere and do it more. And the fans love it. I love it. So let's get to this.
Wow.
Before we do, I want to introduce our champ, Mr. Dan Merle.
Yeah, Dan.
He's
Dan.
still our champ. Fact checker today. You ready, Dan?
I'm ready. There's a lot going on in this fight, Andy.
Yes.
Does everybody know what is happening?
There
here?
is a lot to go down in this fight. I want to. I don't know how well they know this, but this is March Mania here on Screen Junkies.
Oh, wow.
This is the beginning of several good fights. In fact, we have a promo to show it. Why don't we do that first?
See that?
Promo.
Check out this promo for the March. What you're going to get here for March.
The Roca-Mance feud started right here.
He is going to rue the day.
The belt is going to be on the line.
Let's get the battle begun.
Some of our best fighters of all time. You will not want to miss this.
You won it.
We are throwing down the gauntlet
love
this
it.
month
Man.
on movie fights. Some amazing stuff coming soon. And there will be some belt preliminary championship belt battles.
Yeah.
Now, let me explain this. Because this battle actually is going to affect that.
How so?
The winner of this fight, as if there couldn't be any more stakes, gets a seat in the semifinal battle for the belt.
Whoa!
You will get a fast track to the semifinals to determine out of those that 3 people will fight in that battle.
Wow.
The winner of that battle will go 1-on-1 against our champ for the belt.
That's amazing.
I'm really
So this
looking
is
forward to
real
doing
stakes.
Even at 1 and 5, I get a shot at this semifinal.
Well, look, I won't say that this didn't help you get there.
That's right.
But Dan and I both agreed we wanted to see you win one more to get there. So
Yeah.
that's why we're doing this. So
That's
the winner
fair.
of this will get into the semifinal round.
Now the
Then
stakes.
in March, champ's choice. Dan is going to choose 3 fighters, right, Dan? Let's not announce them. You are going to pick 3 fighters who are going to get the second seat, correct?
I have selected 3 fighters, 3 worthy opponents, 3 people that I think all of them are worthy challenging me for the belt. I've selected 3 of them. Those 3 will face off. The winner of that fight will face the winner of this fight.
And the
Roca
third
or
seat in that
Mance.
fight will be a viewer's choice, where you guys were clearing a bunch of schedules to make sure they're all willing. Anyone on that list will be down to do this. You will pick 3 fighters that aside from the people we'll have chosen, who get the third seat. Those 3 people will fight. We have some epic stuff as the bottom line. Plus, Paul Scheer, Kamal Najjar. This is
awesome.
Disney fights you guys have been making. And we're finally doing Collider All-Star, Last Fighter Standing. It's going to be epic. All your Collider favorites are going to come over and do it. So March Mania is in full effect. Are you guys excited?
We're kicking it off.
Absolutely. I can't believe we're
Long
kicking it off.
intro,
What
I'm
an
sorry,
honor.
but this is a big month for us, and
an
you
honor.
guys are the starring attraction. You're kicking us off. I
you.
assume I
Thank
don't
you.
need to remind you how this show works. You're all good to go?
We're good. We are good.
Let's
we
do
know,
this.
We know it.
We
We
know
know
it
this,
goes.
right? That's something we agree on. We know this, Roca.
What are you doing right now?
Stop this fight, I'll shoot.
Stop this fight, I'll kill you.
Let them fight.
Oh, let's get it on. Let's do
All right.
this.
We're about to do round 1, but before we do, I want to thank our
Let me
fans
out.
over there real quick. I forgot to do it. Can we get a quick shot of
yeah.
our fans? Are they, Max, do you have
Hey.
a, Max is, hey, we see some of them. Max is going to adjust, there we go. I want to thank Jake and Bree, right? You guys are there in the front. Jake and Bree, hello.
Hi, Jake and
And then
Bree.
we have Antonio and Matthew. Hey, guys. And we have Simone.
Hello, Simone.
Guys, you're all here. I'm happy you could be
Simone.
here. I'm going to need your help throughout this fight, so make sure you're listening to the arguments and have fun today, okay?
I got 2 questions.
You have a mic, I think, Simone. You have the mic. Yeah, you can spread
Simone,
around.
Wait, you have questions?
Don't
Do you have a
interrupt.
wand?
I won't.
You have a wand?
I what?
Do you have a wand? You're a Hufflepuff? Do you have a wand?
Oh, no, I don't. I'm sorry.
You haven't been
Bring
fitted
it.
yet.
I'm sorry.
Come find me in
can
Harry
help-
Potter
he
land.
can
I
help you
work as a
fit-
wand keeper.
Yeah.
I will fit you with your wand, Simone.
Okay, I'll come.
And tell that fool to get the United States of America off his ass. That's my flag. I served 8 years in this country. Not for some pot-smoking kid
I was
to
trying to be
wear my
nice.
American flag on his ass.
Well, hey, he
I'm
can.
wearing this, so hopefully I can have The Rock walk in and marry us right now. I got my full Nick Mundy
You're
suit
the
on.
Nick Monday.
got it all
Get that beard
on.
going, son. Get that beard
Yeah, I don't
going.
think The Rock's marrying anybody else anytime soon.
Right.
Hey,
I think we covered that. All right, here we go.
Denzel did.
Round 1. This
get
one
on.
comes in off Twitter from London Simples, and this is a big one. I hear the booth mic, or there's a mic. Yeah, let's kill that. Round 1. This comes in from London Simples, and the question is, what is we heard this because the Alien Covenant trailer came out. So
Yeah.
we thought, what is the best Ridley Scott movie? Scott, you're up first. I have a feeling I know what you're going to say. What is it?
Well, I'm going to say Blade Runner, not just because it is Ridley Scott's best movie, but it is my favorite movie of all time. #1 on the movie man's best of list, topping Close Encounters, Back to the Future, Wrath of Khan, Empire Strikes Back. It is absolutely brilliant in every sense of the word. It is a movie that could have been shot today. It looks like it could have been shot today. The production values of this movie, there's so much subtext to this film that you have to see it over and over again, and you get something new about it every time you see it. You have the production design marrying the East and the West, creating what is now known as cyberpunk. You have the influence of this film that this movie influenced the likes of Strange Days, The Matrix, Minority Report, Children of Men. You have every bit of poetic dialogue, especially that tears in rain moment at the very end. And you have the question proposed, although not overtly, what does it mean to be human? So the replicants have a shelf life of 4 years, and they are androids. Does it mean they are not human? And you have the overall question that we are still asking to this day, although we already know, or maybe we don't, because the sequel is coming out in October, Blade Runner 2049. Is or was Rick Deckard, played by Harrison Ford, a replicant? This is a movie that has been re-edited over the years because Ridley Scott wanted to get it right.
Yeah.
So clearly he cares about it. The movie cost about 27 or 31 million to make. It made half that at the box office.
Yeah, it was a failure at the box office.
It was a bomb. It was a bomb. It came out the same month as Wrath of Khan, Poltergeist, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and The Thing. The greatest month ever for science fiction was June of 1982.
All right.
Closing argument is...
Oh, he's already giving us closing.
It is the best. It is simply the best. Ridley Scott.
All right, well,
The
I hope
best.
we'll hear more, but let's hear what John's picking.
Okay, that's a great choice, Blade Runner. I absolutely love Blade Runner as well. But I went with Alien, 1979's Alien. We covered it on the Cinephiles, which is one of my podcasts that I do. It is an absolutely fantastic film, a groundbreaking film. 1979, you have a female protagonist, a very powerful, strong female protagonist in Sigourney Weaver's character of Ripley. We see what we've seen this movie influence numerous films going forward. You mentioned films. There's so much, even as recently as Life. Life looks very similar to Alien, what is coming out with Jake Gyllenhaal and Rebecca Ferguson. What's so amazing about this is the pacing of this film is so perfectly made for the 70s and 80s. It works, it came out in 79, crosses both decades. It works effectively in both decades. And as Scott just said about Blade Runner, you could absolutely shoot Alien now and it would still 100% work. The actors, the actors in the film, the storyline, what happens and how each of these actors is or killed throughout the movie works so effectively, and it establishes this legacy that we still see now today with Alien Covenant coming out. We see it in comic books. We see it in book form. We see multiple films. We see offshoots. We see Alien fighting predators now. There's so much about this film that launched a franchise, launched a mythology, launched a universe. So much so that Ridley Scott did amazing work with this initial start to this franchise and keeps coming back to it and improving it. And you can go back and forth on Prometheus all you want, but there are parts of it that really help the legacy of the film.
All right. Well,
it also tackles the android issue that you spoke about already with the android versus human, that whole thing from the beginning. What was Ash, evil or bad? Can they have feelings? Can they have emotions? Can we see him go through a whole process of what that means? So it tackled misogyny very, very powerfully for a time when women were about finding their strength in all forms of media in the 70s.
All right, strong openings on why both your films are great. I think no one's going to knock that they aren't a great film. Why is yours the best Ridley Scott movie? Go ahead.
Okay, moving on. Now listen, this is a tough argument because Alien and Blade Runner are two of his best movies.
Yeah.
I mean, Gladiator or Thelma and Louise are great, but I mean, these are the two, his first two like breakthrough films, Alien 79 and Blade Runner 82. But one thing I forgot to mention about Blade Runner is the score. Vangelis' score is one of the greatest musical scores of all time. Jerry Goldsmith's score for Alien, also very good.
Fantastic.
But Vangelis is better. And again, Alien, all the things you said about Alien, I agree wholeheartedly with. But I feel like Blade Runner just goes to another level. Yes, Alien spawned all these sequels, and with the exception of Aliens, directed by James Cameron, came out in 1986, I just feel like nothing matched the brilliance of the first Alien. It inspired a lot of sequels. Blade Runner did more than inspired sequels. It inspired everything.
It didn't inspire any sequels until just now.
Well, that's the
It
beauty
took almost
of it.
40 years to get a sequel. I mean, what are we
to.
talking about
it
here?
It didn't need to
What do you mean
inspire
it didn't
any
need to?
sequels.
Of course it didn't. It
Because
didn't
it
answer the
stood
question
on
of
its own.
Deckard
It
or
didn't
brilliant.
need any other sequels.
Was he a replicant or was he a human?
Right.
The reason it didn't have any sequels is because nobody went to see it.
We're still asking that question because when the director's cut came out in 1982 or late 1991, it was established because they added like a little dream sequence of a unicorn.
Right.
Now, if he had this dream sequence, how did Gaff knew at the end to build the little origami unicorn? How did he know they was dreaming about a unicorn unless it was on his file because he was a replicant?
Right.
But still, it was never officially established. And even when the final cut came out in 2007, and I literally asked Ridley Scott, is he a replicant? And he said, what do you think? And I said, yes. And I told him why, because of the answer I just gave you.
Right.
And he said, you're right, he's a replicant. But people still like to talk about it.
Well, he
and
says
now,
that, but then he changes it in different interviews. So you don't know which. It depends on who's asking and
well,
what.
maybe we'll
But here's-
find out in the sequel, which is, by the way, directed by Denis Villeneuve, who is like the greatest, one of the greatest directors today.
Absolutely.
He's batting 1,000.
Arrival's fantastic.
Arrival, Sicario,
Yep.
Prisoners,
Yep.
Enemy. He is.
Absolutely.
If anybody is going to direct a sequel to Blade Runner, it's got to be Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah,
right.
I'm looking
John,
forward to
go
it.
ahead.
But my issues with Blade Runner, terrible voiceover. One of the worst uses of Harrison Ford ever. You can't contradict that. He can redo the film 5 separate times. To me, I'm like, if it's a great film, why are you redoing it 5 separate times? Why you keep re-editing it? What's the problem here? You know, Alien, he only added a couple of scenes for the special edition. That's it. Because it's such a masterpiece already. It's a masterpiece of horror. It's a masterpiece of sci-fi. It crosses all those genres completely and was absolutely something new, right? Now, this idea of unicorns, how obvious can you be? Does that mean you're a separate, you're a magical creature? Like all of that was hitting you over the head. There was no nuance to that.
No way was that hitting you over the head.
The villain has
that
a
wasn't
thing.
hitting you over the head at all.
The last unicorn was like a year later. We'd seen it already. It was a subtle. There was nothing subtle about him doing origami and seeing that thing galloping in slow motion. There's nothing subtle going on there. It looked like the TriStar logo.
You're so wrong.
And why do I care that
very few people?
Why do I care about Sam Deckard? He kills replicants. And by the end of the movie, whatever. By the end of the movie, I care for the replicants more than Deckard. I care for the replicants because he's killing these slaves that the humans have created. But the whole point is, why would you take a lead and undercut your lead? But you're undercutting your lead. You don't do that in Alien.
He squeezes the life
out
of Terrell. I mean, that is
when he murders Terrell.
When he squeezes that, crushes his skull, putting his.
But there is nothing in Blade Runner. There's nothing in Blade Runner that rivals H.R. Giger's work in Alien. Nothing. Not a fucking thing.
I
and
disagree.
you know that. There is nothing anywhere close because Ridley Scott went to college for design. Right? That's what he used for both of them. So all that's there in both of them. No one's time out here. And then H.R. Giger comes in and has this amazing work that has influenced so many people through the years.
Okay, wait a second. You talk about, so Ridley Scott, he didn't have to go back. He just did a couple of things to Alien because it was already perfect.
Yeah.
I won't argue against that.
Okay.
But what I will argue for is that, yes, he saw that the voiceover, Blade Runner was so far ahead of its time that the studio, Warner Brothers, got nervous and they insisted that he use the voiceover with Harrison Ford, which was so bad that when the director's cut came out, he took it out. He cared enough about this movie that he wanted to get it right.
But that wasn't the only change he made.
Hang on.
He made 3 separate versions of it.
Hang on, just a minute.
Okay.
Now he made another version.
Yes.
He made his final cut in 2007 because, again, he loved this movie so much. It was so far ahead of its time. He ran out of money. The movie bombed, but he loved it so much he kept going back to it because it was his baby. He even said in interviews that it was his personal favorite of his movies.
No, that's not what he said. He said that in another interview. He said Alien was his favorite movie. So it all depends on when you interview Ridley Scott and what he's going to say. He also said Martian was one of the favorite movies he's ever directed. So there's no point to be made there. It's all a matter of when he's being interviewed and what film he's promoting.
As
a good director should.
My interview for Access Hollywood in 2007.
I'm glad you did.
Blade Runner was his favorite
I'm glad
movie.
You did.
And Dan, I don't know if you can find it online. I don't know if it's online. It should be. If
I'm
it's
sure
not,
there are
then I'm in deep
multiple
trouble.
instances of Ridley Scott saying he likes certain films.
Dan, I'm sure is on it.
With these kinds of things, and here's another thing about it. There's nothing that got spawned from Blade Runner. Nothing. There's no extra. There's no spin-offs. There's no comic books. There's no other media. And that's the thing. Alien hit such a nerve in the pop culture that it is still permeating generations later. People in and influence so many movies. I would say Arrival. Then the reason Villeneuve comes back to do Blade Runner is because of what happens with Alien you see in Arrival. Arrival, there are influences from Ridley Scott's Alien in Arrival. The pacing, the way the aliens are done, the fear, the dread, the drama, all of that is all there from Arrival.
I agree with all of that. Now, Alien was a hit, right?
Yes.
Alien was a hit. Blade Runner was not.
Right.
Now let's
Neither was Star Trek the Motion Picture, but they still made a second one.
Now, Star Trek the Motion Picture made enough money. It made enough money to
barely
do a
enough
sequel.
money.
Barely.
But then why keep coming back and redoing it? It's because it has a second life on VHS and on beta. But there wasn't enough to make a sequel.
The point that I'm making, mister, is this. Alien was a hit. Alien was a hit.
Yes, it was.
And it was fine. Like, he only had to make
because
a couple
it's a
tweaks.
masterpiece.
Wait a minute. Some of the greatest movies of all time are movies that got mixed reviews, movies that did not do well at the box office upon their initial release.
Right.
But it took a very long time for people to wrap their heads.
Yeah, but
wait, hang on.
Okay.
Around Citizen Kane, around
It's a Wonderful Life. Yes, I know.
Around 2001:
I've
A
heard these
Space
arguments
Odyssey,
before, yes.
and around Blade Runner, because there was so much to it that you need to see it a few times. You need to look back on it with perspective. And you're saying that, oh, well, it didn't have any sequels. Again, all of the movies that I mentioned before, the movies that it inspired, it created a whole sort of subgenre unto itself in science fiction. The post-apocalyptic future, the cyberpunk, the congestion.
A Boy and His Dog had come out before. That was
overpopulation.
post-apocalyptic future. All through the 70s, there were post-apocalyptic movies. So Blade Runner didn't come out and make some post-apocalyptic, groundbreaking thing.
The stylized vision of the dystopian future, that is what this movie created. The cyberpunk depiction of the future, the marrying of the East and the West. It was the future and the past, the futuristic, with the spinners and the past, the film noir. It could
with the rain and everything, the night and all that kind of stuff. Right, exactly. But all of that is there in Alien as well. It is also post-apocalyptic. It is in the future. It's got all the rain. It's got all that noir stuff going on. Plus, it has horror. Plus, it has drama. Plus, it has a sci-fi vibe to it. That's the thing about Alien. Alien crosses multiple genres. That's why it's a masterpiece. Blade Runner is a fantastic sci-fi film. It's a great sci-fi film, but it's not a horror film. It's not any kind. It's not a dramatic, not necessarily a dramatic film. It's a sci-fi film.
Alien is a horror film.
Alien is a horror film.
I've heard a lot. Closing argument.
A lot more big pictures. Blade Runner asks bigger questions. It is a much bigger picture kind of movie. Alien works as a horror film. It works as a science fiction film. It is suspenseful and intense and all that stuff. And Sigourney Weaver was a trailblazer as a strong female character who had a much more prominent impact in that role with the follow-up film. But we're not talking about Aliens. We're talking about Alien.
That's it. Okay.
We're talking about Alien.
Yeah, closing.
Now, in closing, I mean, you have this movie that was so great that there's so much to it that people, the times are still catching up to Blade Runner. People are still getting more out of it. Books have been written about it. Classes have been taught. People have been writing their theses around the ideals, the look, the feel, the dialogue of Blade Runner. I mean, Tears in Rain. I'm not in the business. I am the business. Wake up. Time to die. Every bit of that dialogue is brilliant and quotable. It just transcends the genre.
Final marks?
With Alien, you have a female protagonist, right? All the protagonists, all the female characters in Blade Runner are bouncing off men. This is what is so fantastic about Alien. It blazes the trail. Initially, you think it's Tom Skerritt who's going to lead the movie. Tom Skerritt gets plastered to the wall. Then out of nowhere, Sigourney Weaver comes in and she becomes the lead. She is the character that carries that franchise in the first movie. Don't give me the second movie. The first movie, too. She carries it there because she's a stickler. She's a character we had seen before, done by men before, and they become dead. They get killed and whatever because they're the ones that are sticks in the mud. But what she's doing is right. She's fighting against this misogyny within the whole film, and it's trailblazing in that way. Then you add H.R. Giger's amazing design of the alien, amazing design of this entire film. Then you add the noir aspects of it all. Then you add the horror aspects of it all. Then you add the fantastic script, and you add the fact that it sees the future before we see the future ourselves. Everything you see in Alien is happening now. That's what's so amazing about this film. The communication, space, talking through space, communicating with back, how to do pickups, all these kinds of things are happening all through. This is what they're working on now in NASA. All this stuff is influenced.
Star Trek did that.
No. And with...
Damn. Good start. All right, good warm-up here. Dan, anything you'd like to add cleanup-wise?
So much to go through. Scott was completely right on this June 1982. I didn't even know that. Wrath of the Khan and Poltergeist released the same week. The next week was E.T., 2 weeks later, Blade Runner and The Thing. So 5 classics in 1 month. That's pretty crazy.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Blade Runner had a reported $28 million production budget, grossed $27.5 on its initial release, so not a moneymaker. Blade Runner had, of course, the theatrical cut. It had a cut that was released internationally. The director's cut, Mance, was in 1992, and then the final cut. And I've been looking for Ridley Scott quotes on favorite movies that he liked. The one that I could find was he was asked what his favorite sci-fi movies were. He listed 2001 Star Wars, and then in this order, Alien and Blade Runner.
Woo!
But that's the only quote. You know, he may have other options. That's what I could find in the time that I have.
Well.
What did I
we
tell
also
you?
have a poll that I will give you the results of after you make your ruling.
Tough call, Andy.
This is a tough
I would
call.
hate to be in your
Two
shoes
great
right now.
films, but there was a winner, and it came down to the final thoughts. But right before your closings, I think John gave me a little bit more as to how it spawned different genres, and how it spawned more than I think we got out of Blade Runner, coupled with all the amazing things you've been listing. I think we're both in both films. There was a lot of things canceling out, but those things stuck to me more. The fact that it crossed multiple genres, spawned so much, still permeate today, and then also your argument about the voiceover in Blade Runner was a little bit of a knock, because which version of the film do you? We don't have that against Alien. So John gets the first point.
Oh.
Man,
Take off those American pants right now. Let's go.
I don't want to see his junk.
Halo. He's probably got an American Speedo on underneath.
Andy, Twitter agrees with you right now by 65 to 35 margin. The home crowd voting for Alien is the best Ridley Scott movie.
Whew.
You will all learn. You will all learn.
All right, well, we got 6 rounds today. It's going to be a long show.
Let's do it.
Round 2, this one comes in from Nate Bridgman. The question is, what is Steven Spielberg's most overrated movie? Next, you got to pick a movie that some people really like.
Yeah.
You can't pick The Terminal, is all I'm saying. Or BFG.
I like to call it the terrible.
I can't believe he did that movie. It's like a weird Burger King airport Burger King ad. Here we go. It's your turn now, John.
Yes.
What is Spielberg's most overrated movie?
Well, here we go. As a serviceman of 8 years, I will say, in my opinion, Saving Private Ryan is one of the most overrated films ever. When you get past the first 25 minutes, which is stupendous, amazing. I remember getting emotional 3 times. I just got out of basic training when I saw that movie. It was so fantastic, the first 25 minutes or 20 minutes. One of the most amazing battle sequences I've ever seen, that I have not seen anything since until Hacksaw Ridge, which was amazing. But after that, it becomes boring as hell. And it goes through these things. You're introduced to these actors and these characters that are caricatures of themselves. I'm the New York guy. I'm the start-talking guy. I'm the guy that's the best friend, but all this kind of stuff. Then you get the doctor who's crying for his mama. You know, all this kind of stuff that's all characters that we'd seen, caricatures that we'd seen already in previous World War II films or previous war films. Then Damon doesn't even want to go with them when they finally find him. So it makes all those deaths irrelevant, both before and after, including Tom Hanks' death. All right? And the swerve at the end, where we juxtapose, we think it's Tom Hanks, and it's actually Matt Damon at the end. What a terrible swerve. And the guy turns around, looks at his lily-white, beautiful, happy, beautiful family and goes, was I good? Tell me I was a good man. What is wrong with you? Of course you're a good man. Look at this beautiful family. Look, they're amazing. They'd come with you to the cemetery to celebrate your service as country. It was ridiculous. All right? The whole thing about the mission is ridiculous, and it was a PR stunt by the military to save face. Why is Ryan's life worth more than any of those people in that platoon, including Tom Hanks, Tom Sizemore, Edward Burns, Giovanni Ribisi, Vin Diesel, all those people, Adam Goldberg, is that his name, Adam Goldberg? Yep. All those people in that platoon, their lives are worth just as much. Just because their brothers didn't die in World War II doesn't make their lives any less. And so to me, that's so ridiculous. It's also slow-paced. It takes forever to get there, and it's essentially the Disney version of Apocalypse Now, and that's not what war is.
Jesus
war is the
Christ.
first 25 minutes.
Are you fucking kidding me? The
No,
Disney
I'm not.
version of Apocalypse
I just said
Now.
it really is.
That is the craziest.
After you get the first 25 minutes.
Batshit craziest thing I've heard since.
No, it isn't.
No,
Scott Mance winning this fight is the most batshit craziest thing I've ever heard.
No, there's been a mistake. Wow, is it my turn? Can I pick something there?
What is your pick?
Okay, my pick is Minority Report. because Minority Report is a technically proficient
Who
made.
overrates that
Wait
film?
a minute, you had your
I'm sorry,
5
Scott. I'm
hours
sorry,
to
Scott.
talk. You had your 5 hours to
ahead,
stand
go.
up on your soapbox, mister. So here's mine, and I'm only going to take 5 seconds. No, more than that.
Really?
Here's the thing.
That'd be a
Yes.
miracle.
Minority Report. Good one.
Yes.
Minority Report, it is a technically proficient, like Blade Runner, based on a story by Philip K. Dick, and very much inspired by Blade Runner in terms of its post-apocalyptic depiction of the future, but marrying overcrowding with technological achievements. But when it comes down to it, Minority Report is extremely cold, convoluted, confusing, overwritten, over-explained, and completely devoid of warmth, heart, humor, or emotion. I did not care about anybody in this film. And I went back and I watched it again, thinking, okay, sometimes you got to go back and watch a movie a few times to really appreciate it, like Blade Runner. And I loved Blade Runner. I thought, oh my God, I do love Spielberg. I think he's one of my favorite directors. I mean, he is one of my favorite directors. But I didn't care about the story. I thought it was 30 minutes too long. It should have ended when Anderton, played by Tom Cruise, gets sort of frozen. But it kept going because Spielberg had to tack on the happy, positive, optimistic ending, and the movie suffered because of it.
That's your argument?
That's it.
Nobody overrates Minority Report. Minority Report is like the top 9 or 10 of Spielberg. It's like 9 or 10 of Spielberg's.
I don't care
it's
what
not
everyone
that,
else says.
It's not that overrated.
This is my
Saving
opinion.
Private Ryan is a ballsier
My
choice
argument.
for me to overrate that film.
Bullshit.
Minority Report, no one's going like, oh, I gotta be influenced by Minority Report to make a movie based on Minority Report. It's ridiculous.
Now.
Look, Minority Report is a decent sci-fi film.
Everybody
Maybe Colin
loves-
Farrell's
wait a minute.
best work.
Everybody
Tom Cruise
loves
does a great
Saving
job.
Private
Peter
Ryan.
Stormare is
And
fantastic
yes,
with the
the
eyes.
first 25
But
minutes
it's
of Saving
ridiculous.
Private Ryan
But
are the best
it's
part
a
of that
decent
movie.
film. No
You
one's
could have had a
overrating
Baywatch
Minority Report.
episode following the
That's
first
what
25
undercuts your
minutes
argument.
of
Is
Saving
no one
Private
is
Ryan.
overrating
And
Minority
Saving Private
Report.
Ryan
No one's
still
going
would
like,
have
I
been
gotta get
an
to see
amazing,
Minority Report.
brilliant,
They don't even show
incredible
Minority
film.
Reports in the revival
Saving
theaters.
Private Ryan
They do
was
show it in
so
private
incredible.
revival.
Those first 25 minutes.
Yes, we've
Saving
talked
Private
about it. I've already
Ryan
conceded the first
is that
25
they
minutes.
Inspired. What do you think people said when Hacksaw Ridge came out? They said this movie,
Yes.
those battle sequences were the best since
What's your
Saving
point?
Private Ryan. The
I
point
say
is-
to you, I
is that
already conceded the first 25 minutes. That's why the film sucks, because it doesn't match those first 25 minutes.
You have to have, but you're going to get whiplash. The first 25 minutes of the movie are great, and they're polarizing.
they're
and
fantastic.
They're fantastic,
Yeah.
but then you have to take a deep breath and get into, okay,
Not for
what's
an
the
hour and a
story here?
half.
What's the story here? Then you get into the characters. You get into the heart.
The caricatures,
You get
you mean?
into, no, the characters.
I said caricatures.
You get
I
into
think that's correct.
the warmth, the emotion. These guys, they were the grunts. They had each other's backs. They sacrificed themselves for one person, and when they get to that person, Matt Damon's character Ryan, he
doesn't want to do it.
He wants to serve his
He wants to
country.
stay.
He wants to stay. That
Right.
was bold. And
At the sacrifice of everyone else who had died coming to get him.
That was a moral quandary that was in the movie. Makes you think. Saving Private Ryan is far better.
Wait a minute.
Far better.
Minority
than
Report makes you
Report.
think too. This whole idea of precogs, this whole idea of it's this whole idea that we see now that's going on in our country now. This idea of punishing people before they actually do stuff, just for saying stuff, just for thinking stuff. This is happening now. At these minority rallies, they just arrested a woman who had said that her husband and her brother got taken by the ICE. They had already looked at her, and they let her go, and they arrested her on the drive back to her house. That's what's going on. The Minority Report laid that groundwork down and talked about people committing crimes before they actually commit the crimes, or
That's
arresting them
different.
before they actually do something
That's
to try to intimidate them. That's what they were trying to do, and that's what that's what Minority Report was exposing at the time, because the police state was happening more and more across the world. So what Spielberg wanted to do was explore that, and he did a decent job of it in Minority Report. I don't think anybody thinks it's like the greatest Spielberg film.
No, it's
but
not.
people love Private Ryan. People argue that Saving Private Ryan should have won Best Picture, which
should
I
have.
don't. I
Oh.
think Shakespeare in Love absolutely deserved it, and I will fight that battle. I will die on that
I
hill
disagree
every
completely.
day.
All right,
But
it's one of the biggest upsets in movie in Oscar
No,
history.
no.
was
Crash
when
winning
Harrison
anything is
Ford-
one of the biggest upsets in
Harrison-
my
that
life.
was the-
I
that
need to
was
hear
the
Brokeback.
biggest.
As much as I love hearing you guys overtalk.
Yeah.
I do. I know some people don't. You're in for loud at this episode, I think. Let's talk about Minority Report. Just I want to make it clear. John,
Yes.
why is that not overrated?
Because nobody thinks it is one of the best films that Spielberg's ever made. It's a decent sci-fi film that he's done. There's about 8 or 9 better films that he's made. So to me, it doesn't qualify for the question. Overrated. It has to be
It's
a
a pretty
film.
popular film. We accepted
is?
the answer. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
All right.
some
All right,
people,
fine.
a lot of people like the film.
Then
why?
Why don't I think it's overrated?
Yeah.
I think it's actually a really, really good film that once again explores this idea of crime, of thought. It's thought crime. It's essentially communism. Just because you think something doesn't mean necessarily you should be arrested for it. It asks you to think about that and explore that within yourself. What is correct? Can we stop these people, these refugees, from coming over here just because we think some of them might be terrorists?
I know
and
what
that's
the
whole
plot
idea.
is.
But that's the thing. It's still relevant today. It still applies to it. And the stuff that they're using in the film, very prescient. We see it now. Samsung TVs do that kind of stuff. So to me, it is rated exactly where it's supposed to be rated.
I am not talking
Private
about
Ryan.
No, I am not talking about the technical proficiency of the film. The production design is fantastic.
Right.
I know what the plot is. Okay, I did see the movie a couple of times. But the execution of the film is what bothered me. You strip away all the bells and whistles, and when you get down to the screenplay, because really...
It's about him trying to save his son.
The plays,
He's about to be sexually abused.
Wait a minute.
His son's about to be sexually abused.
And
so he's fighting to stop it happening.
The dialogue of the film, the exposition of the movie, the characters, everybody was explaining the film as it went along for the dummies out there who couldn't follow it themselves.
Oh my God, how many exposition is there in Blade Runner? Is that explaining the film every 5 minutes?
Absolutely.
Right, but I'm saying
exposition in Blade Runner. There's no exposition.
Oh my God, there's so much exposition.
There's no exposition.
As soon as he walks into the office to talk to his police chief, there's exposition. Every time he talks to Edward James Olmos, there's exposition.
That's the setup. That's the setup. All of Minority Report was set up because they were explaining the movie the entire time.
But he faces the moral quandary at the end that you're talking about that Matt Damon does. So does Tom Cruise at the end. Do I shoot this guy because I've been shown that this guy kills my son? He sexually abuses my son, drowns him in the water, and kills my wife. At that moment, he has to decide whether he's going to kill that guy or not, whether he's been manipulated or not. And Samantha Morton, I think that's her name, does such an amazing job in that moment to stop Scream. That's an amazingly powerful moment. The moral quandary you see Matt Damon goes through at the end of Saving Private Ryan is the exact same moral quandary that Tom Cruise has to go through. What do I do in that moment? But it's done better. But it's done better.
Not overrated.
I didn't say it was done well.
Which scene is done better?
Against yourself.
I would say the scene in a Minority Report is done much better than the scene
because you're arguing against it.
Because it's so boring. He just goes, no, I want to stay with my people. Well, what about everybody that died to come get you? Fuck them. I didn't know them. I'm gonna stay here with my troop.
Meanwhile,
fuck all that, man. It's ridiculous. It's a PR stunt by the military. There's no nobility to what they're doing. And I say that as an 8-year veteran of the Army.
That plot.
Yeah, I know the plot. I saw the movie a few times. I know the plot, Scott Mance.
It was a stunt because they can't have all these brothers die. So of course it was a stunt. They had to save face.
What save
part
face?
Of the moral
serve the country or don't serve the country.
That's part. Meanwhile, you're
but
saying,
their lives shouldn't be less than his brother's life.
Wait a minute. The first 25 minutes. What about that last battle scene? That was pretty damn good too.
No.
The movie is bookended by 2 great battle sequences. The D-Day sequence is still
amazing. Absolutely.
The greatest battle sequence of all time. It is the greatest.
I don't know why you're restating the point we've all agreed to.
Give me new points.
Because okay. So as they're going along, as they're making the journey to find Private Ryan, you're finding more about Tom Hanks' character. You're finding more about all these characters. Yeah. There's character development in Private Ryan that is missing big time from Minority Report.
What are you talking about?
Wait, hang on. Okay. I cared more about the characters in Private Ryan. It's bookended by 2 great battle sequences, and in between, you get all this. But
quickly, why did you care more about the characters in yours versus Minority Report?
Because I felt like I was discovering the characters organically versus being told this is what's happening right this moment. Okay. I discovered the characters organically, so that when you get to the end and they start getting knocked off one by one during that last battle scene, like it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking, and those last words from Tom Hanks. Earn this. Earn this. 2 words that sum up the impact of that movie. Earn this.
Let me give you a lifetime of psychiatry bills for all these people dying for you to earn this life. That's so much so that 70 years later you're still sitting in front of the cemetery going, "Did I live a good life?" The film itself inherently is full of just flaws in this kind of way.
Please.
With Minority Report, you have Tom Cruise who's coming in and he is like this cocky kid, like, of course, typical Tom Cruise, right? Cocky stuff.
Wrong.
But
actually,
you're wrong. because he's a police chief. He thinks he's in charge of stuff. He thinks he's running that thing, and then all of a sudden it gets turned on him, and he has to explain explore this thing that he has dedicated his life to. He has to go and find the flaws in it. And Max von Sydow turns on him. Colin Farrell, who's initially against him, also sees what the problem is and dies in the process. Then he has to take the precog out Samantha Morton and discover her life, which she was stolen from her mother. So you get all this as you go along. So there's a lot of character development.
Convoluted, confusing.
It's not confusing at all. I just explained it to you.
Fucking headache.
Thank you, JT. I will say, Dan, I'm coming to you, but I have to say it's ballsy. Rocha goes up against the iconic war movie, and Mance goes up against Tom Cruise, which we know is very hard for him to do as a lover. Dan, thoughts?
Well, if we're talking critically, everyone's saying like, oh, that one's not overrated, that one's not more overrated. If we're talking critically, both movies almost identically regarded by the critics.
Okay.
Minority Report, 90% of critics gave it a thumbs up. Saving Private Ryan, 92% of critics. Of course, Saving Private Ryan got more awards attention than Minority Report. As someone who has Saving Private Ryan in my top 10 favorite movies of all time, that's all I'm going to say about this round. But yeah, it's an opinion-based round. Factually, it was pretty clean, and we have the Twitter poll that I can share once you made your ruling.
Well, I'm curious, the fans back there, based on the arguments, did anyone surprise you particularly? Anyone have a thought?
John, you had me reevaluate my whole life, so I think I would go with John.
Nice, thank you.
Any other thoughts?
Any Mance fans out there?
I was thinking more Mance. He kind of put a lot out there about just with how Minority Report, my mind just went blank. Sorry.
No pressure. I put the pressure on you. All right, well, we got one for Mance, one for Rocha.
There we go.
Again, hate to be in your shoes, brother.
Look, I think it came down to I got it based on the arguments. I'll be honest, I love both of these films, so it's actually really tough. I've seen them both recently. They both do hold up, I think. Mm-hmm. So taking that out of it and listening to the arguments, it was really neck and neck, but then I think Rocha really did give me a little bit why the characters aren't caricatures in Minority Report more. I gotta go with Rocha again.
Oh,
wow! Based on the arguments, it was a really ballsy, and I don't know, doesn't necessarily agree with it, but interesting take. So wow, you're up by 2, Rocha.
Wow. This is an unfamiliar feeling. This is unfamiliar.
Man, it's
plenty of rounds to lose.
It's deja vu all over again, folks.
All right, well, here we go. This is. Oh, sorry, Dan, go ahead.
Twitter, by a 59-41 margin, voted for Minority Report. Personally, I would have argued for Hook myself. I think that is a lot of nostalgia tied to that.
It's a terrible movie. I hate Hook, too. I wouldn't have argued.
I hate that movie.
Oh, it's so bad.
But enough people like that would have counted.
Pull forward, Peter.
Yeah.
Pull forward.
I am not a fan of that film either. Ugh. All right, here we go. Round 3 from Gabe Ruiz 9. Several people suggested this one. This, I know, we're already 45 minutes in. Whew, sorry in advance, but it is going to be long because I got to give the time for this fight, which is we've done before, but we only got to argue for 4 minutes, right, Dan?
Yeah, this was done at a holiday way back at the beginning of the show when we had a very short holiday schedule. This did not get its due, and we thought with these 2 gentlemen here,
this is where we'll get its due. All right, here we go, guys. Star Wars versus Star Trek.
Let's go! Let's do this once and for all!
Let's do it. I definitely want all you listening back there because this is gonna be a doozy. So let's all listen to these arguments. And Mance, we're back to you. I assume you're picking Star Wars.
Yes. Oh, how did you know? I am so. The only reason I am here today is to fight in favor of Star Trek.
Of course.
Star Trek changed my life. Star Trek changed a lot of people's lives.
I'm going to give you both advice.
Yes.
It's not about what you like.
Yeah.
I want to just make sure I've said that early in the. I don't care what you like.
Yeah.
But this isn't about what you like.
Well, it's facts.
I want to know what's the best Star Wars. Because I assume you like Star Wars, yes, John?
Yes, I do.
You grew up liking Star Wars. Fair to assume.
And Star Trek.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Take it out of the argument. Start over. Go.
Okay, start over. Go.
I believe you. I know you are a Trekkie.
Okay, Trekkers. I'm enough of a Trekkie to know that we like to be called Trekkers.
Sorry, Trekker.
All right, here's the deal. Star Trek was first, September 8th, 1966. Every episode for the first 2 years, they were paving their way. You had a show that was ahead of its time and predicted a lot of things about the future. You had stories that were provocative, that were philosophical, that were thoughtful, that were controversial, that were allegories for the times. And because a lot of what they were dealing with in the late 60s are still prevalent now, most of those stories, especially from the original series, still hold up. Star Trek was about diversity. We're talking about diversity right now. September of 1966, you have a show where just on the bridge of the Enterprise, you have an Asian, you have a woman from Africa, you have a Scottish guy, you have a Vulcan, and then the second season you have a Russian. That was diversity more than 50 years ago. Star Trek was ahead of its time. It influenced technology, communicators, our cell phones, view screens, our Skyping, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. You had a show that inspired people to become doctors, aerospace engineers, mathematicians, astronomers, astronauts. Star Trek inspired people to make the world a better place. Star Trek was where Star Wars wasn't a long time ago. Star Trek was our future. Star Wars was in a galaxy far, far away. Star Trek was about us. Star Trek is about the constant striving for perfection and learning from our mistakes along the way. Star Trek had the better philosophy. Live long and prosper. It is within you, not about midi-chlorians or about,
don't even start,
the Force or about lightsabers.
How about red matter? Is it about red matter too?
You're
gonna put all that shit in there. You're gonna starting crap.
Let's put all the shit. We have more than 727 hours.
Do your Star Trek. Do your Star Trek.
I know. 727 hours of Star Trek. There's a lot more of it. You have 13 movies, a lot more than Star Wars. Captain Kirk is one of the greatest heroes ever created. Star Trek is about us.
All right, great opening. Go ahead, John.
Star Wars. Absolutely. Star Wars
Drops Mike.
Oh my God. Wow.
All right, let him have
Let's take a look at Star Wars. There we go. There is not a person on the planet that doesn't know what that is.
Yeah,
right?
that's
how iconic it is. Star Wars is bigger. It's space soap opera, absolutely. But it's also done with the nuances of character-driven plots. The idea of Luke Skywalker, who hasn't felt. You say it's about long ago, a galaxy far. That's not true. Him standing there looking at those.
It says a long time ago,
but you're trying to say that Star Trek is about us, but Star Wars isn't, and that's not true. There's not a person in this room who hasn't had that moment where Luke is standing there looking at those two suns on Tatooine, wondering what his future is going to be. We all have that moment, and that's what makes it universal. We all have those issues with those father figures. We all have those issues with authority. We all have those issues with good versus evil. All of that is there, and that is so relevant to us still now today. This whole idea is what makes Star Wars so amazing. And also, you have a very powerful female protagonist in Princess Leia. Yeah, Uhura was nice. They made her the comm officer. They didn't give her anything of real value to do until much later. Much later. And that's the thing. You say it came first. It was only a few years before Star Wars. Star Wars came out only a few years.
11 years, buddy. That's a long time.
It was 10. It was still only
11.
A few years out.
It was 11.
Okay. No,
11.
Fine.
77. Star Trek was 66.
Either way, it's still within the time frame that it's so ridiculous that it's such an issue. And so to me, this is what Star Wars does really, really well. You have this exploration of the family dynamic. You have expansive worlds. You have creatures that you can connect to, that you understand. What you don't see terrible makeup on them. These are really well done. The Muppets, all that. The Yoda as a Muppet is so well done, so believable. You feel his pain when he dies in Jedi. There's moments there. Luke fighting his father. I mean, he's fighting his father. There's so much to go. Plus the ships.
I'll never
plus
join
the amazing
you.
ships. Right. Oh, live long. Oh,
I'll
I'm
never
dead.
join you.
I'm dead.
I was gonna go to Tashi Station to pick up some power.
Wait. I can be brought back to life on a planet.
Oh,
that's
this
real
is right.
original.
gonna
we can't
get
kill the
outta
star.
here.
So, and the other thing about Star Wars, and this is so amazing,
keep going.
John Williams' score. Go ahead, let me see you argue John Williams' score versus any of the scores
I'm
in
not
any of those Star
arguing the
Trek
scores.
things. Right? That's what I'm talking. Lightsabers are way more cooler than phasers set to stun.
wait a minute.
How boring is that shit? Boba Fett. Find me anyone in the Star Trek universe that rivals Boba Fett.
All right,
or
let's ask
Chewbacca.
him.
Right?
Who rivals Boba Fett or Chewbacca, Scott?
Who rivals? What was the question?
Boba Fett.
Who rivals Boba Fett or Chewbacca in Star Trek?
Who rivals? You got the Klingons. You got the Romulans. You got the freaking Gorn, who was in one episode.
No one thinks being a Klingon is cool.
Are you really going to
Only
bring the
nerds.
enemies into this? Okay, wait. Okay, so first of all,
wait, I'm not done.
They're not done?
No, all the amazing
I got a
novels.
screening later.
Oh, wait, you just said 720 hours. So all the amazing novels and comic books that have spawned off of Star Wars that are still coming out today and still powerful today. The overarching themes of family, resisting evil, doing what's right, steadying your mind to handle the world. They have better special effects, advanced filmmaking, and Empire is better than any. Has a better villain than Darth Vader is a better villain than any villain Star Trek has.
Bullshit!
And Empire Strikes Back is a better film than Wrath of Khan. Empire Strikes Back is a better film than Wrath of Khan, and you know it. You know it. It's more layered and complex than Trek. Trek is simple human relationships.
God!
Star Wars is more compelling storylines. You have the Old Republic. You have all this stuff. Star Wars Wiki is visited more than Star Trek Wiki. There's just so much about Star Wars that is so powerful, so relevant, still resonant. The fact that they just started all over again, new trilogy. Right? Your new trilogy is tanking. Beyond is crap. Into Darkness was crap. The only thing that was good was the first 2009 reboot. That's it. Everything else has been crap.
No,
it's true.
No.
Whereas Rogue One,
Beyond
Force Awakens
was excellent.
is excellent.
Star Trek Beyond was a throwback.
They're
to
talking about doing
series.
a TV series on Netflix. They're talking about all the stuff that's happening.
They're already doing a TV series for Star Trek.
Yeah, and the showrunner left. What's that tell you?
Oh, I don't care. Who cares? First of all,
who cares?
The show
Fuller is one of the best showrunners out there, and he left.
The show is in. By the way, okay, you want to talk about productions? The producer for The Empire Strikes Back got fired after that movie because it went over budget. I'm not arguing about the fact that
So did the Star Trek motion picture.
Hang on. The fact is, okay.
And they fired Roddenberry.
Wait a minute.
That's the creator.
Let's go back to what you said about Uhura. Okay, the fact that she was just there on the bridge, a black woman on the bridge in a position of power in 1966. Wait a minute. At the height of the civil rights, and who was a big fan?
Yes.
Wait, who was a big fan of Star Trek? Martin Luther King.
Right.
Who was a big fan of Star Trek? Barack Obama. Okay.
He's also a fan of Star Wars.
Okay, wait, just a minute. Hang on. Now let's go.
James Earl Jones is the voice of Darth Vader. The fuck does that mean?
Okay, Star Wars. Okay, yeah, it's father son. You got some family issues. Wait, hang on.
Right,
okay,
sorry.
you had all this
sorry.
time.
You're right.
Yeah, you had your lightsabers.
Act like you didn't talk for 20 minutes.
You have your lightsabers, but you
Yes.
also have phasers. Phasers are used for defense. They are used for defense. We'll defend ourselves if necessary. Okay, wait a minute. You're saying that Empire Strikes Back is a great film. It's one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. So is the is the Wrath of Khan.
Yes.
The Wrath of Khan uses themes that are timeless and from literary classics like A Tale of Two Cities from Charles Dickens.
So it's all derivative.
Like Moby Dick. But you're using timeless stories to tell another timeless story. That is why Wrath of Khan is the Citizen Kane of Star Trek movies.
Yeah, but the Star Wars trilogy destroys the Star Trek 2, 3, and 4 trilogy.
Wait a minute.
You know that.
Why?
Because Research of Spock is an uneven film.
No.
4 is good, 2 is good.
Just a
3
minute.
is an uneven film.
Let me tell you
1, 2,
something.
and 3, there are no uneven situations going on in Star
3,
Wars.
You're telling me Jedi is up there with Empire? Bullshit. Jedi is
Of course
bad.
it is. People
Jedi
love
is a
Jedi.
bad movie.
Yeah, it is not a bad movie. You're out of your mind.
Jedi is overrated.
What?
Jedi, you cannot
When
go.
Vader throws Palpatine down the chute, that's overrated?
please.
Are you out of your
All
fucking
those
mind?
characters-
Everything is leading to him
all
doing
those
that.
characters
Everything in the
became
first 2.5, 2 and 3/4 films
Star
is
Wars
leading to that
great.
moment.
Empire is a masterpiece. Return of the Jedi is garbage.
That's what?
Return of the Jedi. As soon as you see the little Ewok feet
I tell you what's
walk in,
garbage. Star Trek
I
Nemesis,
tune
Star
that
Trek
movie
Insurrection,
off.
Star Trek, everything from Next Generation, all the First Contact is garbage. That's the thing. Star Wars has its the prequels. You can argue back and forth, but there are plenty of people who defend the prequels. No one's defending Insurrection. No one's defending Nemesis. No one's defending any of those crappy films after First
Scott,
Contact.
are you defending those?
Tell me a Star Wars
Are you defending
movie.
those?
Wait, say those movies again? I wasn't
Insurrection.
listening.
You weren't listening. How are you gonna?
Look,
Nemesis.
Okay,
All crap.
Nemesis, Insurrection.
I'm gonna defend that with this: The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith.
And I can tell you there are many people, millions of people who love the prequels.
Okay, good
on
for
numerous
them.
podcasts.
Those prequels were awful.
Joseph Scrimshaw
Those
being one of them.
prequels
Ken
were
Knapsack.
Well, I agree
being
they're
another one.
all they all have awful
Wait a
movies
minute,
and great
hang on.
movies in there.
The other thing is this, okay? Yes, the Star Trek movies are uneven. There's the theory, and it's been almost proven that the even-numbered Star Trek movies are better than the odd-numbered Sar Trek movies.
By miles.
When you break down Star Trek's trilogy, Star Trek's 2, 3, and 4,
Yes.
yeah, Star Trek 3 is a little weaker than The Wrath of Khan.
A little
and Voyage
weaker?
Home.
You're saying a little
Wait,
weaker?
It is a little weaker because hear me out. Because first of all, the scene in Star Trek 3.
You can't tell me Jedi sucks to Strikes Back. In 3 is like only a little weaker.
Star Trek 3 is better than Return of the Jedi.
You're out of your mind.
No way. Search
You're
for
out.
Spock.
They recast Kirstie Alley. You're out of your mind already. There's a continuity issue.
Hang on.
Of course,
Wait,
she was
back up,
fantastic
back up,
as Saavik and Khan.
Back up.
Yeah.
In Star Trek 2, broken down into its simplest form. In Star Trek 2, Spock died saving the Enterprise.
Yes.
In Star Trek 3, the Enterprise returned the favor. When they're watching the Enterprise burn up in the atmosphere of the Genesis planet, and Kirk goes, "What have I done?" And McCoy says, "What you always do: turn death into a fighting chance to live." And wait a minute, that last moment, that when Kirk has sacrificed his ship, his career,
stakes.
No stakes.
Nope.
His son dies. He loses his ship. He puts into his own career and the career of his colleagues on the line.
But then he gets it all back. That's what I mean. He gets it all back in real world,
But
like
wait a
Star
minute,
Wars.
he
People
doesn't just
die,
get it
and
back.
they don't come back.
He gets it back because
People
wait a
die.
minute, he saved
his father.
He
dies.
saved the world by going back in time to bring
going back in time
to the future.
He's going back in time. See, there's none of those bullshit conventional narratives in Star Wars. Ain't nobody going back in time in Star Wars. You deal with what's happening right in front of you, and you deal with the consequences and the ramifications of
they
your
were
decisions.
smart enough to go back in time and realize that there was an environmental issue.
The writers wrote a conventional narrative in there that go back in time.
There was an environmental issue in the 20th century that made them say, "Oh my God, there's no whales."
Whales.
It was an allegory. It was an environmentally conscious movie. What Star Wars movie is provocative and serves as an allegory for our times like this? And don't talk about the family shit. Don't talk about
I'm going to give you all the arguments. You're going to go, no, don't talk about that. What the fuck are you talking about? Of course I can talk about that. That's exactly what the whole point of it is.
You know what kind of people like Star Trek? Smart people.
You know what kind of people like Star Wars? Smart and incredibly creative people who don't use stupid conventions in order to solve their problems. Hey, you know what? We're gonna shoot. We're gonna use the Genesis machine. We're gonna use the Genesis machine to rebirth Scott.
Everybody idolizes Darth Vader.
Matter.
Let's do Dark Matter. Everybody idolizes
Darth Vader.
Ridiculous. What did Darth Vader do? He fucking kills people.
Yes.
And people are idolizing.
So did Khan. People love Khan. So do the Klingons. People love the Klingons. So the Borg. People love the Borg. What the fuck are you talking about? This is what I'm telling you. But Darth Vader gets redeemed. That's the point, that there's a chance for all of us. All the shit you talk about with Star Trek, with the whole live long and prosper and all that stuff, there's a chance for redemption for all of us when you see that in Vader. Vader does that.
Long and prosper.
And Luke sacrifices himself.
Infinite diversity and infinite combinations.
Look at the end of the trilogy. Luke sacrifices himself.
That
he does not fight back
people.
because he wants his father to fight Palpatine once and for all. He wants to reclaim his father, who he believes is Anakin, and there's good in Anakin. And in that moment, he takes all the blasts from the Emperor because he knows he's either going to die or his father's going to fight back once and for all and be his dad. And that moment is so incredibly powerful. And I'm going to tell you, that influenced a lot of people in their relationships, I'm sure, watching that film, going back and seeing that. Because not all of us have the best relationships with our dads when we come back. So that's about us. Star Wars is about us.
Star Trek
That's
is
what I'm telling you.
Star Trek is about us.
No, you have a philandering guy who walks around, goes planet to planet, sleeping with all the women. I mean, give me a break.
Captain
and
Kirk,
terrible acting, cheesy acting. Leonard Nimoy is the only saving grace of Star Trek. The only saving grace.
Star Trek.
I mean, you have a terrible Russian accent from Walter Koenig.
All right. Hold on.
It's the reason that people became and people joined the military to be a captain of the aircraft carrier.
By that logic, then Top Gun is one of the greatest films ever made.
Well, Star Trek came first.
I need closings here because I'm trying to listen through it all.
Respect, Andy. Respect.
I need to know. We all know why these films are great. Everyone, look, both of these franchises are great. Obviously, people have their favorite. Why overall in the world, it's of everything. Give me more than you. Don't repeat yourself, but just why is Star Trek better than Star Wars, Mance, and why is Star Wars better than Star Trek, John?
Okay.
Give me
closing arguments. Just help me hammer it home.
Well,
think broadly. Let's go.
Listen, I said all the reasons at the top of my argument.
But he said don't repeat yourself, so don't repeat yourself.
Well, I'm just going to defer to the beginning of this piece. Then I said everything at the top about the stories, and on top of all the provocative, thoughtful, philosophical stories and the fully realized characters. Star Trek was about friendship. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy constantly sacrificed everything for each other on a repeated basis. Star Trek was an action adventure in addition to being provocative entertainment. It was ahead of its time, and it still is, which is why they are still making Star Trek movies and they are still making Star Trek TV series, because we are always learning about ourselves, and that will always inspire Star Trek to be made.
Okay.
John?
Now, everything you just said that's in Star Trek is also in Star Wars, but in real life ways. People die. People have to fight back. They have to fight out of their situation. They have to understand who they are. They have to discover these kinds of things. They have to go on their hero's journey. That's what makes Star Wars so relatable, so universal to everyone who watches it. That's why they love it. That's why they keep coming back. They do video games that are so much better. They do the Old Republic. All these things that are there within the Star Wars universe that explore different stories. You can't tell me Jyn Erso losing her father in Rogue One is not an incredibly powerful moment. These are real things that are happening. People, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Star Trek takes the easy way out. They can go back in time.
Jesus.
They can use red matter. They can eject a person who's dead onto a planet that brings him back to life. There are no stakes. He eats the apple because he cheated on the Kobayashi Maru test. There are no stakes. Even Spock dying is no stake. Yes, his son dies, but that's the only time he has any kind of stake and loss. When in Star Wars, you have to lose and then go forward and find a way out. And still stuff isn't fixed. We see that in Force Awakens. There's something going on with Luke. Luke's at his end. He's been cut off. He's there bearded on the mountain. There's real consequences. That's real life. See, Star Wars is about us. Star Trek is about this idea that we could be something. Star Wars is actually what we really are. And that's what's amazing about Star Wars. And that's why it's more universal. That's why there's so many books about it, comic books, and all media, and successful, fantastic media. Now, no one talks about the Star Trek books at all.
Shit. Dan. And the gallery over there.
Yeah. Man. That was something. Thanks, just to delve into this a little bit, Gary Kurtz, the original producer of the first two Star Wars movies, said he was fired. He claims that he left due to his dissatisfaction with George Lucas' increased focus on marketing and toy sales. These are his words. Now, there could be some dispute, but that's his side of the story. President Obama was very much a Star Trek fan, a hardcore Star Trek fan. He watched The Force Awakens in office, but he was very much more upfront about his fandom for Star Wars. John,
or Star Trek, you mean?
Sorry, Star Trek. Yeah, Star Trek. Very much a Star Trek fan. He also enjoyed Star Wars, but was very upfront about being a Star Trek fan. People on Twitter have pointed out, John, you said that people die in Star Wars and don't come back. They kind of do. Obi-Wan Kenobi came back.
Oh, Force
Yoda
ghosts
came back.
But they don't get rebirthed into life. They're just Force ghosts.
They're just more transparent than they were before.
Yes, good point, Dan. Good point, Dan.
And Andy, this is a good judgeship because there's a lot of confusion on Twitter as where the TV fights points end and the movie fights points begin in this argument. It's very difficult. It's a very tricky subject, and a lot of people don't really know where to side. I have the fan poll up right now, and I'll let you know how that looks after you make your judgment.
Look, I think we're counting it all. Got to count it all. It's one fandom versus the other fandom. And here's where I'm stuck. I think Mance had a killer opening. Mance had a really, really killer opening that Roca, I had to be honest, you were scraping to catch up with because he just gave me a much broader reason as to why Star Trek's more important. But then Roca, you really got a lot of punches, and just because the movies and people don't die, all the things you gave me have a lot of weight to it. But it's not about just the movies. It's about the passion. And I think, to say Star Trek isn't about us because they want to achieve something greater, I mean, Star Trek genuinely does. That is sort of the whole spirit of it. And I'm glad you didn't repeat yourself, but you did remind me that I have to take that opening well. But the adds of friendship, the things you did add, I still got that opening was too strong for me to sort of ignore. I think those were some very strong points early on, and I think a lot of fevered fans are probably mad at me because you made some very strong points about the movies. But between the diversity and the inspiration and the coming out first and how we all aspire to be and uniting together, like those are things we need, and I think are really important. And they're both great. They both have some shitty movies. They both have some good movies. But I got to give Mance that point based on the arguments.
Harloff is going to kill me. Harloff is going to kill me.
Did you name me over there?
If I lose a Star Trek argument, I am done.
Dan, thoughts? Anybody over there?
I will say Twitter voted 78-22 for Star Wars over Star Trek.
Assume that.
So there you go. Twitter, I think, tend to be trending that way as well. But mostly everyone agreed that it was a very spirited discussion.
Yes, a very good discussion. All right, we're all winning. This one's going to be tough as well. Huge loss this past weekend with the loss of Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
So many wonderful performances he gave and wonderful films. And such a nice guy.
Nice guy.
So it's such a bummer. So we do want to honor him here and just talk about his career. So this came in from several people, but Alpha Tross was the tweet we got. We want to know, what is the best Bill Paxton performance? This isn't trick question with the best Bill Paxton movie. Let's focus on the performance. What was Bill Paxton's best performance? Rocco, you're up first.
All right. For me, there were a number of things you could choose. You could go Aliens. You could go Weird Science. Chet's fantastic. You could go Tombstone even. But I chose a film that not a lot of people maybe have seen, but it is one of his most critically lauded performances, and that is in A Simple Plan. Bill Paxton with his brother Billy Bob Thornton in the movie, they find $4.4 million, and they have to, and then they think they're going to split it. These, they're kind of like they're all ham and eggers. They're trying to make it in the world, and they're going to try to kind of hide this money from everyone and split it amongst themselves when they get to it. But unfortunately, greed, unfortunately, suspicion, unfortunately, as it happens, because this is what happens when people suddenly come into a lot of money. This stuff, it tends to corrode relationships that are there. And I think what Bill Paxton does here is deliver one of the most incredibly nuanced and subtle performances that we've ever seen from him. Because we're used to seeing him play these kind of larger-than-life characters, these grandiose characters, and then disappear into characters like he does in Morgan Earp and Tombstone, like he does in Apollo 13, where he's barely even there. These things that are what's great about what he does in A Simple Plan is that he lets you into the vulnerability of this character in a way that we've never seen Bill Paxton do. And he's so believable in every scene. And the stuff with Bridget Fonda, you see the wheels turning, but it's a way that's believable and understandable, and you can get it, and you feel for him throughout the entire movie, because he's really a good man trying to do right, but these other elements are coming in, and you see these nuanced situations when these things start to happen to him in these relationships, how he starts to change, how you can see a good man go bad and the reasons why. That is incredibly difficult to do in a small film. This film had a lot of trouble with pre-production. It went through 3 different directors, including Ben Stiller and John Dahl. A number of people were involved in this production. Nick Cage was originally going to play the Bill Paxton part. So this had been working, and for 10 years they've been trying to write this film and get this film done. And when it's done, it's so, so good. And Bill Paxton, once again, shows us something we've never seen before in any of these other films. Yes, he's played this kind of character before, but not to the levels and complex levels that he plays in A Simple Plan. And by the end, you are heartbroken for what happens to him and those relationships in that film. And it takes an incredible actor to deliver that kind of a layered, nuanced performance that carries you through that kind of film and outshines Billy Bob Thornton, which is very, very difficult to do at that time in his career.
It is a great film that you guys should see if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it is a great film.
Go ahead, Mance.
Okay, this was a tough category, and I was actually surprised he didn't go with Aliens. But
because he's one of many, he's an ensemble there.
You know what? And most of his strongest performances are supporting performances. Yep. That Simple Plan was a lead. Yep. I went with Apollo 13. He played astronaut Fred Hayes, and everybody knows the story of Apollo 13. It was NASA's most successful failure because after 2 missions to the moon, Apollo 11, 12 landed on the moon. Apollo 13, which was launched at 113. I mean, it was all these crazy coincidences for bad luck. But so as astronaut Fred Hayes, he was the one who got sick along the ride. And the great thing about his performance in that film is it was an ensemble movie. It was nominated for Best Picture, lost to Braveheart. It lost to Braveheart, based on a true story. I think it's one of Ron Howard's finest films. Yeah. But the beauty of Bill Paxton's performance in this movie is that he knows when to give and he knows when to take. He's sort of the comic relief in the film, when he throws up in the command module. So he's that comic relief, but things get very serious when he gets sick. And when he does get sick, and the command module or the lunar module, when they go to the lunar module, the Aquarius, he looked his performance was so convincing that I got cold just watching his performance, but I just feel like his performance, was really a crucial part of the ensemble, and that made the whole greater than the sum of its parts.
Okay.
All right, fight it out.
Yeah, my counter to you is that a number of other performances stand out, and he, like you said, he's comic relief in the film. That's what he's done in a number of films. He is comic relief. Where I think in Simple Plan we saw something completely different from him that we hadn't seen before, and it really broke conventions. And I think it launched him into the second phase of his career, where he's playing these other characters that are a lot more solid, a lot more staid, so to speak, and a lot more levels and nuances. It really established him as he transitioned, just like Costner is doing now, into these characters that are the kind of side characters, but they give you foundation, like you see in Edge of Tomorrow, like you see him in other films. When he does that, he's really great at doing that. And Simple Plan is the one that really opened everyone's eyes that this guy was not just comic relief. He was not just conventional supporting character. He can carry a film, or when you put him in now as an older actor, he knows how to play these complex situations, nuanced situations. He brings levels to the performance that people might not have given him a chance to if they hadn't seen him in Simple Plan. And I think he's good in Apollo 13. Absolutely no complaints. I just think if Kevin Bacon is outshining you, Tom Hanks is outshining you, even Gary Sinise, who isn't even up in space, outshines you, and Ed Harris outshines you, then you're doing a good job, but there's nothing you're doing that's going to make you stand out from the film. And I think that's what undercuts his performance in Apollo 13 versus what he does in Simple Plan. He's out acting Billy Bob Thornton. He's bringing Bridget Fonda to another level as an actor. He's making her step up to a degree, and I think that's the power of a good actor.
Okay, again, you're comparing a lead performance, which is something he didn't really get to do a lot until he got Big Love, where he was like, on
yes, he was great, but I think he wouldn't have got it without Simple Plan.
But I agree with that.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was part of this ensemble, he was a great supporting character. Everyone in that film had their moments to shine. It was again, I'm not going to take anything away from Braveheart, but Apollo 13 was also just as deserving to win Best Picture because everyone was on fire in that movie, especially Bill Paxton. He was not overshadowed by anybody. He didn't get lost. The fact that he did know when to give, he gave and he went big. And then, he pulled back when, Bacon had his little freak out moment in the command module or in the winter module. And, Tom Hanks as, the captain, Jim Lovell.
Yeah.
And it's based on a true story, and it's such an inspiring film. And the way these guys were up in between the Earth and the Moon, and they had to use what they had to make it all the way back. It's incredible. It is incredible. They are absolutely lucky that they made it, and because of that, I feel like the true aspect of it is so inspiring that actually elevates his performance.
Well,
closing thoughts.
Okay, like I said, with him in A Simple Plan, it is something we hadn't seen before from him. And I think that's what makes his performance so much more amazing. We didn't know he could do this. We saw him as Chet. We even saw him in Apollo 13. He's comic relief, his ensemble gives and takes, sure, because he's done that already. He's done that a few times in multiple films, including going back all the way back to Weird Science, all the way going back to Near Dark or After Dark. He's great at playing ensemble stuff. What I think makes his performance in Simple Plan stand out is the lead. They hand him the lead. He's going toe-to-toe with Billy Bob Thornton, who at that time was one of the premier actors working in independent cinema, and he holds his own and gives even more to that performance than he gave in Apollo 13. And he carries us through the film. Without him, the film falls apart. Without his performance, the film does not work. You could put another good, decent actor, just like Bill Paxton, into Apollo 13, and the film would have worked just fine. The film doesn't work without Bill Paxton's performance. And carrying Billy Bob Thornton, carrying Bridget Fonda, there's something about that, and displaying what happens to a good man as he progressively gives in to the fear and suspicion and has to question the love for his brother. I mean, the love for his brother. He doesn't have to do any of that in Apollo 13. He's guided by Jim Lovell and finds his spot, and he knows he's got other layers of people that can take care of the situation before he does.
Again, you're comparing a lead performance to a supporting performance.
What's the best Bill Paxton performance? That's what I'm arguing. Lead or otherwise.
Okay, well, as far as whether, despite the amount of screen time that he had, I still felt like Apollo 13, he is playing a real life character. There's a huge responsibility there, and I don't think that role would have been the same with anybody. I mean, that's a matter of opinion, but I don't think that movie would have been the same with someone else playing Fred Hayes. I felt like he was great in the role, and it was a great ensemble. Everybody fed off each other, and he stole his scenes enough without making the rest of the movie about him. And it could be, because it was about the moment. It was a true ensemble, the people back on Earth, the people up in space, all working together to fix this failure.
All right. Dan.
A lot of people online sharing their own favorites. Eric Monroe said Near Dark.
Near Dark, yeah.
Evan Coyne, Aliens. Jonathan Peck says True Lies. A lot of support, including from Mac Poole, for Frailty.
Oh, that's a good film.
That's a good one.
One that I see a lot of, and that I don't know if it's his best, but man, did I love it, is his performance in Twister.
Yeah.
Because that is the stupidest movie in the world.
Yeah.
And he makes that movie work because he didn't treat it like it was a dumb movie.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in that movie, Philip Seymour Hoffman's in that movie, and Helen Hunt. Like, the reason that movie even kind of works is because nobody treats it like it's stupid, even though it is patently ridiculous.
Yeah.
But he's great in it. He's so earnest in that. I don't know. It's maybe not his best, but it might be my favorite of his.
Yeah.
Paxton also was part of the cast for Apollo 13. They won the SAG Award for Best Cast Performance at the second annual Screen Actors Guild Awards back in 1996.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, we thought we'd give you a break that time out of respect to Bill Paxton. We didn't scream at each other, so thank you. That was
Right.
a nice
We
little
do
calm
not to-
moment in the storm.
Good one.
But yeah, great fights, great performances in both. So many performances he gave. I gotta say though, it doesn't matter lead or supporting. You know, it's about the performance, and I think Mance, you got a little stuck. It is ensemble. I think Roca gave me a better examples as to why he was more nuanced, vulnerable, etc. His turn against his brother, all great things. So I got to give Roca that point.
Ooh, wow.
So you're up by 2.
Up by 2. Yes. Wow.
Look, it's a special long episode. There's 2 more rounds coming.
2 more rounds.
Here we go. Question number 5.
Lozenge.
What actress, currently 30 or under, will be the next Meryl Streep? So
Here we go, Scotty. Back. Here we go, Scotty. Here we go.
Who is the next Meryl Streep? Just to grade, so that way you know they can only have done so many movies because they have to be under 30, 30 or under. What actress currently now do you think will be the next Meryl Streep for years to come? And Mance is up first.
Mance is first. Hot. Ladies and gentlemen, Screen Junkies, Movie Fights fans around the world, hot on her Oscar win for La La Land, the next Meryl Streep is, without question, the one, the only, the beautiful Emma Stone. Emma Stone, look at her. She is gorgeous. She displayed so much range just in this film, La La Land. She had to sing, she had to dance, sometimes at the same time. She had to do drama, she had to do comedy, she had to capture the euphoria of being in love, and she had to show vulnerability and breakdown almost with defeat when she almost gave up. That was a lot of range just for one film. But wait, there's more. She is also an Oscar nominee for giving a revelatory performance as the strung-out daughter in Birdman. She worked with Woody Allen not once but twice, working with Alejandro Inarritu. She gave an amazing breakout performance in Superbad, but it was her breakthrough performance in Easy A teen comedy, a high school set comedy that was elevated, and one of the best high school comedies because of her fully realized performance. I knew who Emma Stone was when I saw Zombieland and obviously Superbad, but I fell in love with her, professionally I mean, while watching Easy A. I thought she knocked it out of the park. I mean, playing a zombie killer, of course, playing Gwen Stacy in the 2 amazing Spider-Man films. And what elevated those movies were the chemistry that she had with Andrew Garfield.
All right, let's hear what John picked.
All right, my choice is last year's Best Actress winner, and that is the lovely, the talented, one of the stars of Kong Skull Island, Brie Larson, who I absolutely love as an actress.
Yeah,
and
she's great.
The question is, who is the next Meryl Streep? Have we looked over Meryl Streep's filmography? You're talking Sophie's Choice. You're talking Kramer versus Kramer. You're talking these very strong, powerful films, Cry in the Dark, going forward into all these other films that have come out over the last 30 or 40 years.
Yeah, that's an impressive career.
It's an incredible career. So you want a woman who conveys weight and power and emotional complexity. And this is Brie Larson. This is what she does in Room. More so than anything that Emma does, other than that one monologue about her aunt in La La Land. And Brie Larson is amazing because she has crossed multiple genres of film. She's done comedy in 21 Jump Street, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, And then the independent films were spectacular. Now, she's sung on numerous soundtracks. Meryl sings as well. She's politically active in defense of victims of sexual assault. Meryl is very political as well. And when she won her Oscar, she beat Jennifer Lawrence, Saoirse Ronan, Cate Blanchett, and Charlotte Rampling. She didn't need Viola Davis to not be nominated to win her Oscar. She won it legitimately. And she's a great combination. I'll let you talk. It's a great combination. She has a great combination of approachability and talent, which is exactly what Meryl Streep has. She's shown on multiple films how powerful she is as an actress, how complex, how layered, how nuanced she is. And when she comes to work and the chemistry she has with everyone she works with. If you see Room, that film with those scenes with Jacob Tremblay are one of the most powerful scenes you'll ever see, and it's very reminiscent of early Meryl Streep in that ability to, like she does in Kramer versus Kramer, when she has those scenes with her child in Kramer versus Kramer. It's very reminiscent, the connection, the emotional complexity. Emma is a good actress.
She's
no argument. No argument to, well, we'll see, great, but she's a good actress, right? Easy A, fantastic in Easy A. It's a teen comedy. She does these other things, great. But what Brie does is Brie comes for the harder stuff. She does the independent movies. Emma doesn't do that nuanced kind of stuff in independent films. She does good work. She just doesn't do the nuanced kind of stuff that you see, the power, the weight. You know there are actresses and then there are actresses, right? And that's the difference. I think Brie Larson deserves to be in the conversation with Meryl Streep, Viola Davis, those kind of powerful actresses. Emma Stone deserves the conversation to be with Marissa Tomei. These kind of actresses that are powerful when they have their moments of power, but they're not, their entire career is not power. And I think what Brie does, once again, multiple genres of film she crosses over. Kong Skull Island, even Trainwreck, playing Amy Schumer's sister in Trainwreck. She's great playing Amy Schumer's sister in Trainwreck. Has incredible, nice, soft moments with her child and with Amy's nuttiness. All of that is there with her, and all of that is like just at the tip of her tongue and the tip of her hands. She's so talented.
Can I counter?
Yes.
Can I counter, please? Okay. So you talk about weight, complexity. You talk about giving layered, nuanced performances. Emma Stone did that too.
In what?
In Birdman and in The Help.
In Birdman. In The Help?
In The Help.
Come on now. In The Help?
In The Help.
I'll give you Birdman.
Wait a minute. No, wait a minute.
I'm not going to give you Help.
Hang on. The Help is a heavy-handed film, but her performance in it. Wait a minute. Hang on. I'll let you talk.
Not for those girls. It isn't. It's heavy-handed for the black maids. It's not heavy-handed for the pampered white girls.
That's what I mean. It is a layered, nuanced performance. You talk about she doesn't do indies. What do you call magic?
I didn't say she didn't do indies. I didn't say she did.
No,
I said she doesn't bring the same weight to them that Brie does.
No, you said she doesn't do indies.
I didn't say that.
You said she doesn't do indies.
No, I said she doesn't bring the same weight to indies.
Well, regardless, she did 2 indies. She did both of them with Woody Allen.
Yes.
She did Magic in the Moonlight and.
Wait, Woody Allen is independent movies now? Get the fuck out of here. Woody Allen's not independent movies.
Yeah, they are.
That's like saying George Lucas funded his own film, therefore it's an independent Star Wars film. What's wrong with you?
John.
There is no way that Woody Allen films are independent films.
Yes,
they're studio funded.
No,
therefore,
they are
inherently not independent
Sony
films.
Pictures Classics, Amazon, they are
Who
independent
owns Sony Pictures
films.
Classics? Is that Sony?
But it's
is that
still
a big
an
corporation?
Independent film. You're talking about his movies.
It's an independent film.
His
all right.
movies cost less than $2 million to make. It's a freaking independent film.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
And listen, you also have to look at the future here.
Yes, I have been.
Okay, so let's look at what is Brie Larson doing next.
Yeah.
Kong Skull Island.
Yes.
Avengers: Infinity Wars.
Right.
Captain Marvel. Let's talk about what. Wait a minute.
I just said yes. I agreed with you.
Let's talk about what Emma Stone is doing next. She's going to play Cruella de Vil. That's going to be a stretch. She's going to be in Battle of the... Wait a minute. She's going to be in an independent film called Battle of the Sexes, playing Billie Jean King.
Right.
That movie, if I had to guess, is going to make the round of film festivals in the fall, Venice, Toronto, and Telluride.
Right.
And she is looking at another Oscar nomination the very next time, and she will get the Oscar nomination, her next one, sooner than Brie Larson will. That's my feeling.
You're out of your mind if you think that's going to happen.
Not out of my
Look,
mind.
I mean, Brie Larson
Brie
Larson is in another independent film coming out, Free Fire, which is already that 70s kind of independent film that is being lauded all over the place in independent film festivals right now. She is working on numerous projects right now. Captain Marvel, like you said, Marvel picks the right actors to play those parts, not because they're throwaway. It's because they pick these actors that can bring complexity and weight because they explore the emotional trauma of being a superhero in all their films. From Robert Downey Jr. to Chris Hemsworth to Chris, and you're not going to argue.
How many times do Oscar winners go on to make superhero movies?
Can I say, wait?
That's a cliche.
What do you mean that's a cliche?
Everybody does
She's
it.
playing Cruella de Vil. No! Get the fuck out of here! It's the same goddamn thing!
No,
it's a Disney character. It's been played 4 separate times. What is so incredible about that?
Cruella DeVille to Captain Marvel.
Right, because Captain Marvel is going to take more effort and more time. Cruella DeVille's been done multiple times. Captain Marvel's never been done.
Who's going to be the next Meryl Streep?
Marvel chose her to be the first female-led superhero film in their brand.
Yeah,
why? Because she's a fantastic actress who's going to bring the complexity of Carol Danvers to the screen. If you don't know Carol Danvers' story, you got to explore that because she's not just like, hey, I have superpowers.
By the way,
Carol Danvers has a lot of stuff going on in her personal life when she becomes Captain Marvel, and she actually dies in the history of the comic books. So that's why you need an actress that has that kind of power that gets the audiences in the. I don't do that to you. Don't do that to me. I don't go, come on, hurry the fuck up. I don't do that to you. I'm just saying.
You both do a lot.
These are the kind of things that she does, right? The Glass Castle is another thing that she might get nominated for. And Basmati Blues, which she's got coming up, which has got a lot of publicity behind it. So she has this kind of power. Plus, she's politically active. Plus, she can sing. Plus, she's powerful in leading the way. She didn't hug Casey Affleck. No, that wasn't singing. She didn't hug Casey Affleck. She didn't kiss him because she knows he's done sexual assaults.
Wait a minute.
So both at the Golden Globes and the Oscars.
To do with her becoming the next Meryl Streep?
Meryl Streep is you cannot separate Meryl Streep's activism from her acting. Meryl Streep is Meryl Streep, and that's what you're asking me. Who's the next Meryl Streep? And to me, Brie Larson covers all the bases of Meryl Streep. She will lead the way. She does not do the same kind of character in every film.
All right, let me tell you, you're both now even because he was beating you on awards, but you just beat him on activism. And last little thought, this closing won't matter.
When you're talking about who was the next Meryl Streep, generally, I mean, certainly I thought we were talking about acting. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about personal life. We're not talking about activism.
The question is, what actress will be the next Meryl Streep?
Okay, well, when I think of Meryl Streep, I think of acting. And when I think of great actresses who will be the next Meryl Streep, top of my list, and not just because she just won the Oscar for La La Land, is Emma Stone. She's taken more chances in the past. She's taking more chances in the future. And who's to say that she won't get nominated for Cruella? She's also a singer. She played Bowles on Cabaret on Broadway. That was the role that got her La La Land.
She got eviscerated by the critics by her singing voice. They said Michelle Williams, who played it, did it better. I have the notices. I'm telling you, they eviscerated her voice on stage. That's why she left the production the way she did. She's a good actor. Look, if Emma Stone's, I have nothing against Emma Stone.
I don't think she's watching.
Okay. If anyone knows her, I love Emma Stone to fucking pieces. I think she's a fantastic actress.
She is a fantastic actress.
I think you're talking Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep, I think Emma Stone belongs in the Marissa Tomei category. Good actresses that step up depending on the part. With Brie, she is always good. She is always nuanced. She always has another level going on. She has an unspoken level going on with all her performances. And there is nothing that Emma did in La La Land that will come close to what Brie Larson did in Room.
I disagree.
Okay, there's nothing.
Absolutely disagree. She displayed more range in one movie. And yeah, I mean, listen, I've been over the top of La La Land because I really love the film.
I know you did.
But I love her performance in the movie because it is so layered, because there is so much range to this one movie.
But there isn't.
Now, okay, you don't
I'm
want me
sorry,
to hurry you up.
I'm sorry,
Don't
Scott.
interrupt me.
I'm sorry, Scott.
All right? You shot me down. I'm shooting you down now.
Good.
Let me
Letting you
fucking
speak.
finish.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay? She gave more range in that film. I know I already said this, but I'm going to say it again because it's the truth. She gave more range in one film than Brie Larson has in a bunch. In a bunch. I'm not saying her whole career, in a bunch. Emma Stone, she, on top of the fact that she had to sing and dance and do drama and comedy and break down and be in love, like, people fell in love with her watching this movie. I mean, I fell in love with her again watching this movie. She had me. It was just one film, and I'm looking ahead to the future. She is taking chances. She's taking chances. She could go the easy route and play a superhero movie. She already did that. She had her taste of it.
She went the Disney route. That's not easy at all.
Oh, but Cruella DeVille, she could get nominated for that. She could get nominated for playing Billie Jean King in Battle of Sexes, and I'll bet you she does.
I bet you she doesn't.
I bet you she does.
I bet she doesn't.
I'll bet you $5 says she would get nominated.
Are we betting $5?
Here's my count. I'll bet $100 that she doesn't.
Oh,
yeah.
You're on.
$100?
I'm going to count her.
Okay, so we're saying $100 that Emma Stone will get nominated for Billie King. You're saying no.
I never say no.
Okay.
I think the film's going to crash and burn.
Disagree.
Well, of course you disagree.
You
got to make that $100.
Same technical team behind La La Land, FYI.
Oh, great. The one that just lost Best Picture? So let's take a look at this, what you just said.
You are supposed to be the closings, but
yes. So you're
10 seconds.
Okay. Brie Larson in playing a villain in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. fantastic. Don't tell me that she doesn't. Don't tell me that Emma Stone. That's ridiculous. We just said, right? She doesn't. Kong Skull Island.
Ridiculous?
Because you're saying that Brie Larson's performances
Did
in all
you
these
see
other
Kong
films.
Skull Island? Did you see it?
I haven't seen it. No.
Okay, I did.
Okay,
I did.
And
it's okay.
Then you're just saying that to win the argument, though. You're just saying that to win the argument.
It's
Is
okay.
she good in the film?
She's fine.
She's
and
fine.
You talk about
you mean like Emma Stone and numerous other films just fine?
Anyone could have played the role.
Anyone could have played her in Superbad. What's the difference?
It's an underwritten role. It's an underwritten
Anyone could
role.
have played her in Superbad. That was such an easy role to play.
People
Give me
went,
a break.
whoa,
no,
who is
it was
this person?
it was Michael Cera and Jonah Hill who stood out. It was not Emma Stone.
People went, whoa.
McLovin was more known.
All right, I gave you a lot.
All right,
I'm going to give you. That was it. You got a lot. Quickly, you get 10 seconds.
Okay, well, again, I've said everything at the top. I mean, she's done better work in the past. She's taken more chances in the future. She's looking again. I mean, we don't know yet, but she's looking at another nomination. I believe it.
Whew. Dan and the crowd over there. What do you guys think?
Well, I would like to point out that John brought up the concept of Emma Stone didn't need that Brie Larson beat so and so for the Oscar. To be fair, Emma Stone beat Meryl Streep, so I wouldn't have opened that door if I were you, John.
Florence Foster Jenkins, though, that's like.
Just saying.
That was not a.
Secondly,
that's not a good role.
John said that Woody Allen does not make independent films. He was nominated for an Independent Spirit Award for Blue Jasmine, Vicky Cristina Barcelona, Bullets Over Broadway.
Okay.
By their rules, the Independent Spirit Award rules, it is a movie with a budget ceiling of $20 million.
That's a lot.
A lot. It is, but a lot. Some of his last movie, for example, Cafe Society, would not have counted under those rules. A lot of his previous movies would have counted. So he has a foot firmly in both.
Does that include
camps.
Annie Hall? And that was a studio film.
That was a different time. That was a different time.
Okay.
That was a very different time.
Best Picture.
And
Over
a
Star
lot
Wars.
of people pitching Tatiana
Which I agree
Maslany,
with.
who they believe.
Maslany would be great. If
Meryl
they gave
Streep.
her more movies, absolutely. Maslany's
She's in,
fantastic.
what's the show?
It's
Orphan Black.
Orphan Black,
Yeah.
yes.
Maslany's
on
great.
television. A lot of people saying.
Whew. All right.
Oh, and the Twitter poll is very close. It's changing by the minute. So.
Wow.
Based on the arguments,
I love you too, man.
got a little hot there. Got a little hot for a second.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah. Hey, you guys take this seriously. That's why I love you both. It's really tough, actually, but when you went back and compared the roles, and then when Scott did reveal sort of the Skull Island, which I don't even know if he's supposed to do, performances and things, which we'll keep on the download because it doesn't go into YouTube to Saturday. Shush, if you watched early. It all came back, so I think Scott gave me a little bit more of an argument as to how she's on track to become more of the Meryl Streep, while Brie Larson will be great, doesn't necessarily mean she's going down that same route. So, based on the arguments, I got to give it to Mance. Very close, though.
When Brie is on her fourth Oscar.
I just love
before
that
Emma.
Stone.
I know you. And Emma's
Stone.
great. I love
and
Emma
you know
too.
what? I believe in Emma.
It's
Stone.
hard to fight against Emma.
But honestly,
I love
Brie's
Emma to pieces.
great. I love Brie.
All right.
I love them
Our
both.
online poll is currently 51-49 Emma Stone.
Wow. Andy,
It's
good
popular
call.
right now. All right.
Yep.
All right, we're 90 minutes in. We still have a fight because we added one, but we got to do this because the Oscars just happened. We just
I
touched
don't need
upon
notes for
this.
that.
We just touched upon this. The fans demanded this. I think I know what you guys are going to pick. We're picking two movies. Scott, you're going to fight La La Land?
Yes, sir.
John, you're going to fight Moonlight.
Also known as a masterpiece.
Best film of the year. We're going to argue this fight. Yeah. All right, let's do this. Wait.
Who goes first?
Wait, JT, you have something up there?
Oh!
Trick question.
What?
Oh! So, John, that means you'll be arguing that La La Land is the best film of the year.
What?
Scott, you'll be arguing that Moonlight is the best film of the year.
I can't do that! What? I can't do that!
Hey, you guys are the best.
No,
I had to throw a trick at you.
Oh, man.
Wait. You actually want me to argue against
Yes.
La La Land?
Yes.
I can't fucking do it.
Hey,
Wait, no,
hey,
that's
you
the
can say
scene.
Hey, either one of you wants this thing. I had to argue
That's
for
fair.
Jurassic World on this show, so nut up and argue, guys.
Come on, man. That's fair.
Nut up.
Yo, JT, you're fucking fired.
Dude,
Wait,
So it's a trick question.
My friend is in Moonlight. Andre Holland, who plays the older
Yeah, well,
chef.
to you it's shit now.
This trick
fellow
question.
Seminole,
Wait a
Dan.
minute.
It's a fellow Seminole, Dan. Damn it.
Oh my God, this trick question is worse than that shit show that happened at the end of the Academy Awards. I thought I was moving on from this.
It's only fitting, right?
I wanted to once and for all say why La La Land is the best picture
All right,
of
give me
2016.
Molnar. Give me Molnar. Okay, here we go.
God.
All right, here we go. So to clarify,
No,
you must argue in the opposite film.
What happened?
So, Scott, you are arguing against La La Land. Moonlight is the best film. La La Land is shit. And John, you must argue for La La Land, and Moonlight is shit. This will prove who really earns this point and who deserves to be here. This is about debate, about the arguments. Roca, you're up first.
Jesus
why is
Christ.
Moonlight a far superior film to La La Land?
La La Land, a far superior
Sorry,
film.
why is La La Land a far superior film to Moonlight?
Wait. Hang on. I cannot believe this. I don't believe
You can't
this.
believe this. I can't believe it the same level you can't believe it. Trust me. Trust me.
Oh my God.
I was ready to eviscerate
this
this
is my
joke of
nightmare.
a film.
I gotta see how you're handling
Let's
the
do it.
pressure.
La La Land is an amazing film.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
should
Whoa,
have.
careful.
It should
Hold on,
have.
I gotta clarify.
Yeah.
If you defend the other film you like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Strike that from the
yes,
record.
Strike that was it. Last pass. Go ahead.
Your Honor. La La Land is one of the most amazing films that has come out in the last 30 to 40 years. It embraces the musical genre, which is so difficult to do, and many people had declared that genre dead, and La La Land brought it back to life. It brought it back to life with two incredibly charismatic and powerful actors in Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. Their chemistry, their connection with each other throughout the film, you buy it, you feel their pain. Look, spoiler alert, because we're going to argue these films. You feel their pain when the romance ends. You feel their pain when she comes to visit him at the end in the jazz club, and he looks at her, and they have this amazing American in Paris inspired sequence where they go and see what their life could have been like if they had ended up together. And it's so powerful. I cried so much in that moment. You know, but that's real stuff. La La Land explores this human emotion. Yes, people have criticized, it's two pretty people. Bullshit. That's LA. That's actors. There's a lot of pretty people who suffer and never make it. You know, they end up in porn or God knows where. And that's just how it happens sometimes, you know? So what La La Land does, though, is it awakens your joy of dreams. Having a dream, fighting for it. Who hasn't been that level of barista, working close to the studio, wanting to break through, wanting to be seen, wanting to be heard? How many of us have a silent scream of our lives? And that comes through in La La Land. It comes through so powerfully in La La Land. Yes, you have Ryan Gosling explaining jazz, white-splaining, or some people criticize it, white-splaining jazz. White people like jazz too. White people can understand it. Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, Chet Baker. There are plenty of white people. Gene Scott. There are plenty of white people who have done jazz and have killed it in jazz and have loved jazz. And so you can't use that argument. He really explores when he's explaining jazz to Emma Stone. He's explaining jazz to the audience itself, and that is such a well-done scene. And then John,
we'll get more.
Okay,
Scott, why is Moonlight a far superior film to La La Land?
I hate you.
This counts against his time, by the way.
Okay.
That was hard.
Here's why Moonlight.
Everyone knows you're doing a trick question.
Okay. Here's why Moonlight is a superior film. Moonlight changed the game. Moonlight was a daring film. Moonlight was a brave, bold, beautiful film. It is a masterpiece. It spans 3 different time periods. Mm-hmm. It's Boyhood meets Brokeback Mountain by way of Boys in the Hood. That may sound like a crazy pitch, but that's what that movie is. The power of that film, a coming-of-age story about sexual identity in the African-American community at a time when both movies about a feature for both sides are few and far between. Here is a movie that is done with grace, with beauty. The performances across the board are absolutely brilliant. The character, each of the actors playing the boy growing up. Mm-hmm. You have Mahershala Ali as this drug dealer who unwittingly takes it upon himself to be a father figure to this young boy who needs a father figure in his life. Yeah. He won an Oscar for it. He won a lot of awards for it, all of them well deserved. Naomi Harris filming the role of the mother in just 3 days because she was in the middle of doing the press tour for the last Bond movie, Spectre, and that she still is the only character in each of the 3 timelines. And she is the thread of the movie, and she got nominated for it. Well deserved. And she's an amazing actress. But the last scene of the film in the diner is so genuine. It is organic. It is deeply, deeply moving that these 2 guys that had one moment that touched them for the rest of their lives. One moment, and that will carry them through the rest of their lives. And the movie ended on such a beautiful, beautiful note. And that is why the movie deserved to win Best Picture.
All right, now, you guys both defended your films great, but I need you to hear you guys criticize why the other films are shit.
I'm about to jump into that. All right, so the problem with Moonlight is the narrative and the story structure. Yes, Mahershala Ali comes in, he's great right at the beginning, and then he just disappears. Nothing. There's no wrap-up to the storyline. Naomi Harris, she's a terrible mother. There's no progression in her character to where she's sitting and has the apology at the reception, or the whatever drug center she's at, treatment center. She has to sit there, but there's no progression. She's just like, I'm sorry for being a bad mom. Sorry. All right, cool. Let's move on. There's no weight to those moments because they're not earned. Mahershala Ali disappears, and at no point does Sharon mention him again. At no point does he talk about him again. This is one of the most influential people in his life. I feel that's a detriment to the film. And then when he has the situation, when he he goes and drives down and meets up with his friend who was the gun who gave him the hand job on the beach, all that jazz. He goes down there. Yes, it's unspoken, but it's unspoken in a way that it's like you have to do all the work as the audience, and there needs to be some kind of end to that situation, some kind of conversation about that situation. All they talk is instilted, and then he has that moment he leans in on him. What does that mean? Okay, great. You gave me a hand job. We found each other again, and we're back in the same position we were sitting on the beach listening to the water. But there's no progression. He is a gang member now. The other dude's a chef, right? He went to this, but why? Why? We don't know why. We don't know what happens. We're told everything instead of seeing the experience of him becoming these things. And I think that's the problem with the film that undercuts the power of the film. The film should have been more devastating than it was, and it copped out on its ending, and it copped out on its narrative structure in certain moments. And that's where where La La Land doesn't do that. La La Land shows the progression of that relationship, the end of that relationship in a fucking montage, and when it happens, you feel the end because you feel for both of them wanting to connect and being unable to connect, and circumstances keep them from connecting. And then when they move on, you see them move on. We are shown them moving on and exploring their lives, him opening the jazz club, her becoming, using that one-woman show, and he drives out to bring her back to Hollywood. So powerful. You don't just get a black screen, chapter 3, and then she's a successful actress. You get it all as you watch through La La Land, whereas Moonlight just hands you
Why
hands
does
you
La
the
La
stuff.
Land suck?
Okay.
This has been my most favorite fight ever in the history of this show.
I don't care about the point.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Make
This is
it
the experience
stop.
of this.
Make it stop.
This is like asking.
You're about to concede the point. I need to hear. Okay.
Here's why La La Land sucks. Okay.
Emma's
first of
watching,
all,
by the way. Emma's watching.
You have this movie about shallow, self-absorbed people.
Oh man!
Who are
how dare you?
So full of themselves.
They're pursuing their dreams.
Wait,
let him talk.
Oh, I'm sorry, Scott. You're right.
Let hear him do this.
Yeah, I apologize.
They're so full of their dreams. They forget to connect on a romantic level. They do it for a little while, but ultimately they care more about their shallow, self-absorbed careers because they want to be famous than working it out to stay together. You talk about a movie that cops out at the end. What do you call the end of La La Land? Oh, let's see what would have happened when the reality is they didn't love each other enough to stay together. Wow. Boy, that's really inspiring. I'm going to watch a movie that makes me not believe in love because these two self-absorbed kids can't work it the fuck out.
Wow. I would disagree with you completely. What are you talking about, Scott? Every one of us has that one great love of our lives that just didn't work out because of timing and factors and what have you. And we have that moment where we see them again years later, and we have maybe over coffee or maybe on the drive home, you think about what your life could have been with that person, and it's really moving. And that's how you grow and mature as an adult. That's why Ryan is a different person when he's at the piano playing that riff. When he comes out of that riff and that whole sequence, he's a different person because he's had that experience. Emma is a different person, and at the end when she's about to walk out the door, they have that moment where he gives her the smirk, the Ryan Gosling smirk, and she gives him the smile. And that smile is the understanding. Thanks for being there at one of the most important times of my life. Thanks for driving out there and making me come back. You changed my life. Thank you for inspiring me to start this jazz club, because if you had been in my life, I might not have been motivated to do these kinds of things. And that's where La La Land is really its power.
Scott, thoughts? You went there. Keep going. Hurry up.
Talk about a movie. You're talking about, what happened to Mahershala Ali? You never see him again. They mentioned that he died, but they don't have to harp on it. They just move on. It's years later. Mm-hmm. He had enough of an impact on the kid. And when we're moving forward through time, you see that this moment that they had together on the beach in the moonlight, it wasn't just a hand job as you describe it. It was a moment of love. It was a moment of sexual awakening. It was a moment that they never forgot. And as grown-ups, as adults, they're living different lives. One's a gangster, the other one's a chef at a diner, but they love each other. The love for the two of those men in Moonlight felt more real and genuine to me than the shallow, self-absorbed love between Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, who could not stay together. Love conquers.
That happens.
Wait a minute, hang on. Love conquers all. Love conquered all in Moonlight. It did not conquer all in La La Land.
Absolutely, it did, because Ryan loved jazz more than he loved anybody else, and he opened that club. But so he's in love with that.
I want my club. And Emma, I want to be an actress.
Emma found her.
Screw you.
But Emma found her husband, and they have two beautiful kids. She's happy with him. She did find love. Love did conquer all.
Settled.
Sometimes love.
She
no,
settled.
she didn't settle. She did not.
Settled.
That guy walked into that place and walked her through it and took care of her.
Nice guy. Tom Everett's guy from That Thing You Do.
You do.
She settled.
You change as you grow, and different people fit you better at different times of your life.
She followed her head. She didn't follow her heart, and neither did he.
She followed her heart and her head because she wanted to be a successful actress. That's what gave her life to breathe.
That was ambition triumphing
Mahershala Ali,
over
he
love.
dies, but we don't see what his effect is on Sharon at all. And it was more than just a hand job, but he never let another man touch him. He never let another man touch him.
Exactly.
And the chef moved on and had kids with another woman and a wife and all this kind of jazz.
But they are
so what is their love?
together. They
but it's a convenient drawn back together, and it only happens because he calls him. If he was that driven, he would have found him.
Wrong.
But in fact, he waits for the chef to call him, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, maybe I should go figure this out.
Years later,
maybe I should go get another hand job down by the beach."
They went out of their way.
There was not as much.
Years later, they went out of their way to find each other.
Who went out of their way?
The chef called the guy.
He just found the number. He didn't go out of their way. It was a friend of his who had the number to show. You just said it went out of the way.
They still.
He went out of the way. He drove down.
They found each other, and the moment that they had together was strong enough, but that they were drawn back.
But love doesn't
together.
conquer all. They're damaged. They're broken from that hand job. They're not in love with each other at the end. They're broken. One's a gangster and one's a chef who was in prison for 10 years.
It doesn't
he was
matter what
in
they
prison
do
for
a
10
living.
years.
What matters is that they came back together. The love was strong. Their love. Wait, listen to me.
Your point says love conquers all, but it doesn't.
Their love was strong enough to triumph over the adversity of each one. Whereas these two white people.
Oh my God.
Couldn't work it out.
Oh my God.
They couldn't work it out because they were so driven by wanting to be an actor. I mean, listen, she wanted to be an actress. She wanted to be famous. She wanted to be a star.
No.
He wanted to open his own jazz club. They could have worked it out. They didn't. The moment when in La La Land, when they had the argument after he comes home to surprise her with dinner, like the whole movie, so that one argument means they're not even going to try to work it out. That wasn't enough. I wasn't convinced.
Well,
I cannot believe I'm saying.
If you are in a relationship, you know there is that one moment, that one argument moment that just happens that fractures the relationship and there's no going back. And that's what that argument was. And that's what they didn't have like 4 hours to explore the whole. They gave you enough through the montages to understand that there was love, but they were also kind of like missing the mark with each other a little bit, and they both were kind of in each other's way. And
why was that a good thing?
That is a good thing because that's reality. Sometimes the right person comes at the wrong time, and you explore that relationship, and the relationship doesn't work, and you move on and you progress. But you're supposed to learn from that relationship. It's supposed to make you stronger. They both lifted each other up in that relationship, and the ending of that relationship is what allowed them to flourish and thrive, pursuing the things that they love. Her acting and him jazz. So their love did conquer all. She's happy with her husband. He's happy with his jazz club, and they still have that understanding and connection at the end. When just before she walks out, like I mentioned, that moment is one of the most powerful moments we've seen on screen in all of 202019.
I would
more so than
all right,
any
that was
moment.
I'm using as your closing. Go ahead.
Okay,
Closing shot.
I say, you say that people come to each other's lives to at the right time.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened to these two guys when they
Don't
were
use my argument. Get your own argument.
Well, you're supporting my argument more than you're supporting yours.
No, supporting my argument.
Because I can speak from experience and say that yes, there is a big argument that could happen that could derail everything. But if you love each other, you work it the fuck out.
Yeah, but sometimes
that is reality. And in Moonlight, these two
Your
guys.
wife was not the only relationship you've ever had.
Wait a minute. No, she's not.
Well then.
But in other relationships, we've had arguments.
Yeah.
We work it out. It doesn't work out for other reasons.
Right.
But the one that I'm in now certainly did.
Right, of course. And everyone loves your wife,
And
and I'm happy that you're happy with it.
Any other closings aside from
Well, yes. You talk about reality. The reality of the situation is that this movie, Moonlight, it took a taboo subject and it made it accessible, and it was told in a beautiful, organic, deeply moving, heartbreaking way. And true love, whether it happens at just a moment, that it stays with two people for that long, whether they had a moment and they were reconnected many years later, that moment depicted true love more than most movies where they stay together from start to finish.
Right.
That was fun. Dan?
For you, maybe.
I have no fact checking. I think you're a sadist for letting that go on as long as it did. But that's beside the point.
Hey, can we have a hug?
Scotty, you want a hug? I gotta have a hug, man. I gotta have a hug. I'm sorry.
Oh my God! You guys brought it.
Oh my God!
I think the fans loved it, though, right, Dan?
The fans felt bad for both participants.
Oh God! It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do.
I cannot. That'd be like me saying that Star Wars is better than Star Trek.
Oh.
Anything else to add?
We almost had them fight whether Star Wars was better than Star Trek. It's the trick question.
we thought about it.
My God.
We were going to switch that one. But we thought your passion on that one was going to be more intense, so I'm glad we kept it.
Jesus Christ.
All right. Based on the arguments, who
was right? I hate you.
I got to say, I think I got to give it to Mance.
What?
His turn there for me. You were about to lose it based on your points, but and then you got personal with it. You really hit it hard on why those things didn't work, and I thought you came back to why Moonlights were stronger. Mance, you get the point.
Shit.
Did he really die? Did they say he died?
I don't remember them saying that.
They said
they did?
Herschel. They
Yeah.
said was one quick moment. Funeral. They said funeral.
Funeral.
Yeah.
Okay.
They said
Spoiler
funeral.
I missed it. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
Well, I mean,
Damn it.
wait,
I didn't even know when I saw the movie, so
I just won. Wait, let me get this straight.
disagree completely.
Wait, guys, I just want to process this for a minute.
I disagree completely.
Did I
if we could
really
bring, because you
just
said we
fight
were supposed to bring our own
in
personal
favor
stuff.
you just won.
Of Moonlight.
You won saying La La Land sucks. Yes.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
All right, worth it. What a show! I love it.
Brutal.
We're going spraying the speed round.
Oh.
Here we go.
How does this work again?
Oh, come on.
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. Weird choices here. Why didn't we take some of the rejects from the other things? Do we have any of those available, Max?
You should just give me the point.
I should have checked these. Sorry.
Just give me this point.
So
this thing.
That would have been the end of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. We'll try some of these.
I can't stand.
So weird.
I can't stand.
Number two is so
that.
weird. Okay, I guess I'll try it. Here we go. Number 1. You guys know how this works. I don't need to explain it to you. For you at home, you'll catch on.
We're good, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Best movie featuring Jason Statham.
Crank.
I heard Crank first from Mance.
Did you say Crank?
No.
You said Crank.
You said Crank.
I said Crank, yeah.
Yes.
Fuck. What's the Guy Ritchie one? I forget what the Guy Ritchie one was. Can someone help
can't
me?
tell you.
Oh, shh.
Can I change mine? No.
Shit.
Can I change mine?
If he'll allow it.
God damn it. Spy, fine. Fuck. Why can't I remember that goddamn name?
Okay.
Were you looking for Snatch?
Snatch! That's what I tried to say.
You got Spy. Crank versus Spy. Mance, you go first.
Okay, Crank is a balls to the wall. It is an adrenaline fueled, crazy, wild ass movie. It is off the rails, and it shows Jason Statham kicking butt, but really just going for it. It is over the top in all the best ways, and it really just shows how committed Jason Statham is when he wants to really, really kick ass.
There's nothing we haven't seen him do before that he doesn't Crank. In Spy, he's doing comedy, he's doing fun, he's making fun of this character that he's built up over all these separate films. He's fantastically funny. He's got great chemistry with Melissa McCarthy, and he does his stunts. He gets all his action in, and he throws in comedy. So he shows a multifaceted performance, multi-layered performance in Spy, and now people look at him as a possible comedy lead.
Okay, you know what, Crank? He also shows a lot of comedy in that movie too. You have to laugh at this movie, but Crank is a Jason Statham movie. He's in every freaking scene of the movie. Spy, he's a supporting role. It's really Melissa McCarthy's movie. It is not a Jason Statham movie.
So you just argued like lead versus supporting. What's the difference?
Different
and
question.
what I think here in Statham is that he does such fantastic work in knowing the nuances of comedy, something we hadn't seen before. Crank's over the top. This is more nuanced.
You get 2 seconds because he went long.
Crank is it's an action film. That's what Statham is.
Okay. Let's make sure I evened out that. Okay, guys on the couch, I need your help. Based on the arguments, where are you guys sitting?
I think I'm going towards Mance, just because I thought Roca got a little hung up on the last question where he was arguing the inverse of his argument.
Simone? Is her mic on?
Is it?
Okay.
Hi. I would have said John. I think just the multifaceted aspect of that performance, and it's more surprising.
Anybody else want to chime in? Yeah, what do you guys think?
I'd probably say Mance, just because it's Jason's movie, kind of in the lead role, versus him supporting Melissa McCarthy.
Dan?
I don't know if it's fair for me to chime in, considering that.
Well, no, you can be partial.
I think I'd lean Roca's way on this one. I felt like Mance was arguing me a little bit more on Jason Statham. I think Roca was selling me a little bit more on the movie, so I'd lean toward Roca.
That's where I was leaning too.
Oh.
So Roca gets the first point there in the speed round.
How many
Here we
do we
go.
have? 5?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You're up by 1. Here we go. This is a weird one. If Godzilla ever speaks in a movie, who should provide the voice?
Vin Diesel.
James Earl Jones.
All right. Let's hear why. Roca, go first.
Vin Diesel, who's already done the voice of Iron Giant, he's already done the voice of Groot, so already he's had an amazing ability to create these voices for these characters and endear you to your heart. People love Godzilla. People always love Godzilla, both in Japan and across the world. And so to have Vin Diesel do a new voice for this amazing character would blow everybody's socks off.
Okay.
Okay, if you're going to have somebody talk and use a voice, have them say full sentences and not just broken ones like he did in the other films. James Earl Jones is Darth Vader, and he like everyone knows the voice, and nobody can project that ominous, deep, dark, commanding sense of dread and power like James Earl Jones.
Well, that's exactly what we said. Everybody knows the voice is Darth Vader, so people will get confused. They won't focus on him. Whereas Vin Diesel has shown he can do different type of characters with his voices, and people like all those characters as well. James will...
Again, he just said a couple words in each of those films. He didn't actually say full sentences. And James Earl Jones, yeah, he's most famous for Darth Vader, but no one's going to confuse Godzilla with Darth Vader.
All right, I'm going to give you an extra 3 seconds to give me your impression of what the line would be.
Die, Mothra.
Okay. Scott?
Citizens of Tokyo, you have met your match.
All right, that did help me. Guys over
God
there?
damn it. I'm a voiceover artist, god damn it.
I mean, based on the voice, I gotta go with Scott.
God, that wasn't even close to James Earl Jones.
Anybody else? Yeah? All right. Looks like I see nodding heads. All right. Maps gets the point.
Damn it.
Yeah, that was a slam dunk to Roka. Until the impression, yeah.
It's the impression matter.
It sure does.
Damn it. I'd have done a better job.
Okay. What is the best year in movies?
1939.
1994.
1939 versus...
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
You said
1939.
Okay. All right, no, it's fine. It's okay.
1939 versus what?
1994.
1994. Okay. So, Mance, you're first.
Okay, you got Gone with the Wind. You have The Wizard of Oz. You have James Stewart in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Those three movies alone.
All right, you got 3 in. Go ahead,
You have Pulp Fiction, you have Forrest Gump, you have Shawshank Redemption. This is one of the most powerful changing cinema course corrections in cinema history in 1994. It's a combination of independent feel with the popular mainstream culture. That's what you have in Shawshank, that's what you have in Pulp Fiction, and that's what you have in Forrest Gump. It works all around. 3 of them.
All right, you know what's going to help me here is list as many, give me some more to wait here in your last 10 seconds, because I only got 3 from each
Can
of
we
you.
use our phones?
Nope. Shit. This is fair because we did ask you in advance. It was an alternate question.
Yeah.
Okay,
Scott, time starts when you begin speaking.
I'm just going to say that those 3 movies alone were done at a time when the world was falling apart, was about to enter World War II, it was already going on in the rest of the world, America was almost there, and you have these 3 movies, especially Gone with the Wind and The Wizard of Oz, which changed the game.
Well, what you had in 1994 was you had this independent influence, and then you had something like Chocolat coming out. You had all these kinds of films that coming out in 1994 as well, these independent films that were really burning up the screen and changing the course of cinema.
Can you check Chocolat?
I will. I'm trying to come out with
That was not
That's 94.
Was it 94?
I love that you gave them the criteria to win the round, and neither of them chose to do it.
I don't know 39, but I know Lion King, Speed, Professional.
Speed.
There's a lot in 94.
Sorry, my bad.
I meant to say 99, but it's all right.
Like good year as well. All right. Based on those, I got to give it to Scott. I think those are the. I don't know. Anyone else can lean me that way? That's where I'm leaning.
I went toward Roka. I felt like he answered the question better before he got nudged than Scott did, but they both had the avenue to win, and neither of them took it. I don't know. I was leaning toward Roka.
Based on what?
Based on I thought that he, number 1, showed a little bit more knowledge of his year. Number 2, I thought that
he said
argued,
Chocolat.
Well, he did. That's the unfortunate
what took me
thing.
out of it.
The Chocolat thing. That's why I'm having trouble. I was still leaning toward Roka, but I think that he argued more for the course correction, even though he got the one wrong. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, I gotta go. If you just hadn't said Chocolat, I would have given it to you. I gotta give me. I mean, Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind, I think, are pretty hard ones to beat. If you would just give me quantity, which I think you could have done, you might have got it. But I'm going Mance.
All right.
5-4. Wow. All right, here we go. So we've done 3, right?
Jeez, it's like Penn State,
2 left.
USC.
This is
This is the 3rd one.
must win for John Roka.
Yeah.
Must win. Okay, I want to make sure we give you a good one. Sorry, I'm just making sure we go through these all.
Wow, John.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, buddy. What a match.
So weird.
What a match.
All right.
To all the La La Landers out there, I love you.
Worst movie where Matt Damon plays the lead.
The Great
Jason
Wall.
Bourne.
Jason Bourne versus The Great Wall. Okay, so who said which?
I'd like Roka.
I'll go first.
What'd you say?
Great Wall.
Great Wall. Okay. Go ahead.
Great Wall is one of the worst films I've ever seen in my entire life. It is white exploitation of another culture again. It has this fantastical elements you saw that was terrible in 47 Ronin. Then he steps in and they make the entire movie all about him. He's a white guy going to China to defend the Great Wall. It's such an insult to that culture, such an insult to that cinema, and an insult to that mythology of that history.
To have Matt Damon reprise the world famous role, the role that his action hero role of Jason Bourne in a film that shouldn't have been made. It felt dated. There was nothing to it. It was a travesty to the character that he would play it again in a movie that just was such an absolute disappointment. I did not expect The Great Wall to be good. I expected Jason Bourne to be great, and it was awful. Jason
Bourne was a decent film. It was a decent entry into the franchise. They're not all going to be great ones, but Great Wall is a terrible, and you look at Rotten Tomatoes score, I bet it's way worse. So the question is, what's the worst Matt Damon-led film? And the answer is The Great Wall.
Jason Bourne, the first 3 movies, they got better, progressively better as they went along. After Ultimatum, it should have gotten better, and it was like the worst. It was like the Phantom Menace of Jason Bourne movies that should never have been made.
Whew. All right, a little tougher for me. Dan?
When all else is equal, I go with who argued the movie, and Mance argued the movie to me. I have to go with Mance.
On the couch, raise your hand for Rocha. Oh, wow, all of them. All right. Oh, I didn't see. All right, I couldn't see over there. So it's Dan and versus the crowd picked Mance. Picked Rocha. To me, I think you did pick the worst film, John. You made a really good argument, though, that you were expecting more out of Bourne, but you did say it's an okay film. It's not the best in the franchise, so I'm leaning towards Rocha on that point, so I'm going to give it to them with the fan couch. All right, so we're tied. This is it.
Always going down to the last question. I'm so tired of these competitions.
I'm going off book.
Is this the last one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Off book on this one.
Oh, man.
This is one we asked them on the phone, and it's fitting.
Oh, shit.
Name a movie that features the best rivalry.
Sparta Khan.
Empire Strikes Back.
Here we are.
Wow.
Gotta go there.
We meet on the field of battle again, young man.
So Wrath of Khan versus what'd you pick?
Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, we're really doubling down. Okay.
Wrath of Khan. You got Kirk and Khan. It is one of the greatest rivalries in movie history. You have the great hero and you have the villain. Both of them are chewing their scenery, yet they are never actually on screen in the same scene at the same time. That is the power of the rivalry, is that people don't actually realize that. Shatner and Ricardo Montalban chewed their scenery so much, fully realized characters based on literature.
Yeah, you have Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader. This is against his father, and against convention, his father wins. The evil wins at the end. That's unheard of. And it includes one of the most powerful moments, one of the most iconic moments ever, when he tells him, Luke, I am your father. And the rivalry continues over 3 films. It isn't one and done. It's a rivalry that continues. And in this film, it is never more powerful because Vader wins. And we think, Luke, what's going to happen to Luke? We don't know.
Okay, I don't
10 seconds. Use them wisely, guys.
I don't see Empire Strikes Back as a rivalry. It's a father-son thing, but it's not really a rivalry. Kirk and Khan are rivals. Khan is embittered because he banished his crew, his wife.
But in a rivalry means that the other team wins every once in a while. Khan has always lost to Kirk, whereas Vader and Luke is always changing back. I give my 10 seconds. They argue back and forth, and finally Luke wins in the end. And in fact, they come back together.
All right, I'm gonna give them 15 final seconds, okay, Dan? Scott, don't interrupt each other. Don't talk about it. Just let them have their time. 15 final seconds. Use them wisely. Go.
Okay, first of all, Khan did win against the Enterprise on that first battle, and it was because Kirk knew more about the ship, that he saved his crew, and he even was taunting Khan. Talk about rivals. Rivals should taunt each other. Remember that line? Khan, I'm laughing at your superior intellect. That's what rivals do.
Every time Kirk wins, every time Khan tries to win, Kirk always beats him, and he beats him every single time. Whereas with this is a rivalry where Vader wins, Luke wins, Vader wins, Luke wins, and then finally at the end, like all good rivalries, they hug it out at the end and they come together just like we do, and that happens at the end of Jedi when they come together and he saves his father's life.
So here's where I stand. I think
Repeat back to me the question.
Yes. Name one movie that features the best rivalry, and I think Rocha got a little lost in the trilogy, whereas Mance got stuck with one film and told me why. So I just am curious, does anyone have any disagreeing thoughts on that?
I'm a huge fan of rivalries. That's why I want to sit in on this one. But I thought Mance killed it when he was saying that Khan and they're more of a rivalry there, but then Rocha totally brought it back with that they have to sometimes win and sometimes lose for it to be a good rivalry. So
Khan never lost. Khan never won.
Tilted me in the slightest towards Rocha.
Interesting. All right, so you're saying we're not getting lost in the trilogy. He's just pointing out that that's why 2 was so significant.
Yeah, he's saying that
Fair.
you can't have a rivalry if one person always wins.
Fair. Guys in the back, any thoughts? I need help on this. This is all for all the marbles.
I just have a question. You're talking about one movie.
Yeah, I said one movie features the best rivalry.
One movie. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that mentioning the rest of the trilogy is a bad thing. It just puts more weight under it. I would go with John, which is what I said the whole.
I didn't mention Spacey.
You all agree. So all the fans would vote for Rocha. Dan.
I think that I'm with your first instinct. I think that Mance was talking about the Wrath of Khan. He's talking about the rivalry between Kirk and Khan in the Wrath of Khan, and I think that John was more spread across. I think that if you're arguing the Wrath of Khan versus the Empire Strikes Back, the argument for the Wrath of Khan was stronger.
Well, I just want to say, I argued that Vader won in that, and then I used the trilogy to support why that was important.
I heard you.
That's all I'm saying.
Shh. I did hear that. That's why I'm having a discussion, because I want to make sure I do this right. In the booth, JT, I'm going to the booth based on the arguments.
This is like Warren Beatty at the end of the Oscars.
I gotta give the edge to Scott only because I agree he really closed in on the one movie, and I don't fully agree with what he said where those rivalries have to make up at the end. I don't think that's true.
All right, I want to make sure I didn't end on Dan, get some other thoughts, because Dan does have a bias against you. I wanted to hear it all. All right, you can turn the mic off in the booth. All right, based on the arguments, man, this is tough. I'm really stuck in the middle, but I gotta say it is based on the film. I did clearly say pick a film, and I do think Mance gave me more of an example of why that rivalry was better in that film. I'm sorry, John. I gotta give it to Scott.
Yes!
We're very close. Yes! I hope you'll respect that choice. It really came down to the argument that I was,
La La Land forever! La La Land forever! Star Trek saves the day! Live long and prosper, Screen Junkies fans!
Man.
Woo!
Well, there we go. That was a very long show. What time is it? I don't even know. My phone died.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know if we can get to after the fight at this point. I think you got an extra long episode instead. So let's go through and thank everybody as our after show here on the show. Scott Mance, congratulations. Wow.
Come on, John. Give it up, brother.
It really came down the wire.
Wow.
Anything you'd like to plug?
Yes, I would like to plug this guy, John Rocha. He is an amazing guy. He's a great human being. He's full of passion.
Thank you, Scott.
He is smart. He is a survivor. He is a fighter. And it is my honor and privilege to whoop your ass.
I love it. That was nice.
There it was.
But come on, round of applause for Mr. The Outlaw! Man, you've proven though. I'm bringing you back more because this is soon because you brought it today. Congrats! That was I think your best fight too.
Well, I think going back and forth with our conversations and stuff, like I've been honing my game, and so I'm learning as I go along, and so it sucks to lose. I hate to lose, especially being up 3-1, and you can make arguments, whatever. So, but I always appreciate coming on. I love it. It sucks. It hurts afterwards to lose, but I still enjoy fighting it, and I'm still learning every single time. And so,
anything nice
at some point, I'll be ready for you at some point. But I'm getting better. I'm getting better. I'll be getting ready. I'm okay with 1 and 6. It doesn't mean my season's over.
I use my moment to praise this guy.
Let me just say,
hold on a second. I learned, and I'm getting better at this.
Well, I lost, shithead. I get a little bit of time.
Scott,
hold on, Scotty. And of course, Scott, thank you very much for the kind words. It's always a blast to go toe to toe with you. You're one of my favorite people on the planet, and you always have been. You already said that, so shut up. Stop cutting me off. But yeah, this is a blast, and to do it in front of an audience is a little bit intimidating. So that was a blast too. A good an extra level to play with.
Really proud of the audience.
And thanks for having me on, Andy.
Thank you both. Let's go to the audience. Jake and Bree. Mm-hmm. Thanks for coming, guys. Any final thoughts?
Hey, I would just like to say, as a fan of rivalries, I love watching Rocha, Mance, Rocha, Meryl, JT, Patriots, and Trek on the schmoes. Yeah. Andy fighting Christian, whether it's here or there. So I hate seeing people give a bunch of crap to these guys because they have a lot of schedule conflicts and stuff. Like, be happy that these guys do all this stuff because it's really fun to watch. So
thank you, man. We try and fit it in. I'm excited to fight. We're doing some fights against them soon, so stay tuned. In the back, we have Matthew and Antonio. Anything you'd like to shout out?
We just want to say thank you for having us. We just got married on Friday, so
Yeah, congrats!
Oh wow!
Celebrating with us, I love it.
and it's so far the best honeymoon ever. So thank you.
All right, I love it. Thank you guys for coming. Congrats, that's beautiful. So, Simone, right?
Yeah. Hi. I can't top that, but yeah. I just have one thing to say. It's Denis Villeneuve.
Yes.
As a French Canadian, I have
Yes.
to say, yeah.
Wow.
Villeneuve.
Merci
Villeneuve.
beaucoup.
Great, that's very helpful. Thank you for that. Anything you'd like to plug?
No. Yeah. I don't know. I'm on YouTube, but it's in French, so check it out.
Is it called Les YouTube or is it still YouTube?
YouTube,
Well, yes, we'll have to check it out. And thank you all for coming. Dan Merle on the couch. What a show, huh?
That's the dumbest question I've ever asked in my life. So much fun. So it's great to see these guys fight. Roca, thank you for holding on to my property for a while.
Shut your mouth.
I'll be back to get it soon.
Come get it. Come get it, son.
Yeah.
Ain't no subjective nature there. Come
And
get
Mance, Mance has earned the first seat in the semifinal.
Yeah, he
I
has.
look forward to
Mance, you did
potentially
it.
Facing him one-on-one.
There you go, man. You're in it. Wow.
it. Congratulations.
You are in there. Next week, we'll be back with Paul Scheer and Kumail Nanjiani. I can't.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Thank you. I'm terrible with names. And we have a mystery third guest TBD, but it's going to be very fun. That show is going to be awesome. Star Wattage. So tune in. They're both legit movie fans. That's going to be a lot of fun. And thank you for watching at home. You can follow me at Andy Signor and all the Instagram, Twitter things, and keep us many questions. We're going to be putting more on my Facebook and stuff to get your questions on the show more often because we want to get some new thoughts in here. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more March Mania. Couldn't do this without you. Love you guys. Bye-bye. Bye.
Every podcast we put on YouTube comes with this kick-ass graphic listing all the topics your favorite Screen Junkies podcasters are talking about. If you click the topics, you can skip around and choose your own podcast battle royale. Go ahead, try them all. If you haven't already, subscribe to Screen Junkies on YouTube to join us for future fights. Or if you prefer to listen on iTunes, click the logo to download an audio version.